Hello, welcome. It's the Redeye stream. It is 3:15 on the West Coast, 6:15 on the East. Nobody gives a fuck about Great Britain. Yeah, we're gonna do some more Gavin here. I was just watching this and laughing my ass off. I think it's hilarious. We'll see if anybody joins us here in the near future. Um, Other than that, here we go.
Hello, ladies. Welcome to Being a Man. I just saw that in Sweden, the amount of young people wanting to become a different sex is doubling every year. That means a lot of broads want to become dudes. Awesome. I love it. I love dudes. I hang out with dudes all the time. Welcome aboard. I have noticed, though, that you're not great at it. I first noticed this when women would dress up as a man for Halloween, and they'd have a cigar and their hair up in a fedora and like a woman's blazer and go, "Hey, guys, I want to look at some tits." Yeah, I love sports. That's not how we talk. And then I've noticed now with these college kids, they sort of dress like 12-year-old wiggers. They'll have a big hat on, that's sort of over their ears, and they have their diminutive little woman head still, and then they'll have their low-slung jeans and stuff with a chain wallet, and, "Yo, what's up? I'm a boy now. Whoa." That's not how we act either. So now that you're becoming a man, I would like to tell you, as a man, the kind of stuff that we do, the kind of stuff we like, so you can further enjoy your life as a man. Number one, I'm going to do 10, so I'll try to make it quick. We think farts are interesting. Women don't like farts, that they smell like poo-poo to them. But if we're sitting next to a guy and there's no ladies around, there's a toxic fart, you don't go, "Oh my God," and run out crying. You go, "Whoa, dude, you're sick or something. What's going on there?" And then you'll have an interesting discussion about it. And if you were to cup your...
Okay. Alright. Okay, first off, Party, what is up, dude? And he starts with farts. I mean, come on.
Well, farts are fucking funny. I mean, haven't you ever walked past your mate and you dropped your guts right in his face, you crop dust him, and he's like, "Hey, man, I had my mouth open, you got me."
Yeah, right? No, he's totally right. We are sick fucking sons of bitches. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
that's just the way it is.
Well, the whole definition of an Australian gentleman is a bloke who gets out of the bath to piss in the sink.
Oh my God. Okay. Wow. I'm just gonna let that settle in. But you know what I mean? Like, yeah, dude, we're fucking gross. Like, it's just the way it is.
Well, one thing I don't get already is, are wiggers still a thing?
I think so. Like, maybe in Portland. Like, I don't know.
I just haven't heard that term in a while.
All right. We'll continue on because this shit gets funnier, dude. Believe it or not.
your fart in your hand and then deliver it into a guy's face, he would maybe go, "Oh my God, dude!" So you should get used to that and get over your phobia of farts.
Definitely.
Two, and this is related, we talk about shit a lot. We'll talk about the texture of it. We'll describe when we go. About almost half and half is sex and talking about feces and defecation. And I mean, I'm sorry to bore people who aren't interested in becoming men with this topic, and we avoid it when ladies are around. But once you're in a room of all dudes, be prepared for maybe 37% diarrhea talk. Number three, we're gross, as you may have guessed from the first two. But we're not just gross with our topics, we're fundamentally gross. We're not into joy. Maybe we have less sensors on our skin or something, but you know how the way you want to like slither around in silk sheets when you're nude? We could be okay with a burlap sack and a cot. We don't really enjoy things being nice. And if you'll notice, let's say a coffee room in an all-male establishment, the mugs, we don't even wash our mugs. The fresh coffee goes over the old stained coffee and we drink it up. We'd wear the same socks every day if we didn't have women in our lives. So get used to grossness.
Yeah, no, I'll pause it. Yeah, okay. I'm guessing you agree.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus, I got fucking socks that can stand up by themselves. It's actually defense tactic, like if some cunt comes up, tries to rob me, I just take off my boot and shove it in their face. Like, don't hit them with it, just put the open end in their face. It gasses them to death.
Well, no, and he's right? I mean, okay, we are cool with a cot and a burlap sack. Like, we don't give a fuck. Like, fuck off. We're good.
I got the cot. I'd fucking be happy on the ground.
Well, I mean, that's a little cold. Like, I'd like to be warm, nigga.
Yeah, winter weight army sleeping bag usually helps, huh?
But he's totally right. I mean, and he goes on into divorce here, so I'm going to let him speak for himself.
Okay.
Or Fox News, for example. The chairs are just falling apart, and because no one cares. It's just a thing you sit on. It doesn't have to look nice. So get over your joy of furniture and nice things, because we would happily eat a piece of cheese with mold on it. You have to do that if you're going to be a man. At the very least, you eat around the mold, and then just put the mold back in the fridge for when you're really hungry. Number 4, we don't need anything. And that goes back to what I was saying about the cot. I mean, it's probably why we do so badly with divorce, because we're so sick of talking about it. We're so sick of these lawyers getting all their money that when he says, we could end all this now if you're happy with just a cement box with a bed and a phone charger. And you go, you know what? Let's just do that. Now that you're becoming a man, get used to just a pair of boots. Like a lot of men, after they have a divorce, you go to his house and it's just one fork, one knife, one spoon. Jimmy Kimmel's Uncle Frank was like this. He had one bowl, one plate, because he didn't want the dishes to pile up. That's the way we think. Here's a man thing that we'll do. We'll make spaghetti for...
Yeah, no, he's totally fucking right. Like, I hate dishes, motherfucker. Like, I can't fucking stand doing the dishes.
I'm slightly more efficient. I got a whole bunch of disposable cutlery. One plate, I need it.
Yeah, no, you got the fancy china, right? The plastic forks.
Yes, the fine bone china.
But no, he's totally right. Like, and that's the thing about divorce. Like, I totally get it, dude. I've been divorced once, and yeah, totally. You mean I don't have to deal with any of this bullshit if I just get a fucking cement room and a cot? Give me the cot. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm sick of this bullshit already. It's only been 30 seconds. Yeah, no, it's been 30 seconds too long.
No, he's wrong on one note, though. Like, we do need beer and at least cigarettes.
That is true. We do love our beer. That is a thing. Absolutely. Matter of fact, cheers. God damn.
For dinner, we'll eat it out of the pot, fall asleep drunk in front of the TV, then wake up 8 hours later, flip over the spaghetti so it looks like a whale's belly. It's kind of blanched, and then we'll have a few nibbles of that and go on.
Okay. No, you know what? I'm sorry to pause it so quickly, but he is totally fucking right. How many times have you passed out in front of the goddamn TV, woke up with that same TV dinner in front of you, and you're like, oh, that looks good. Come on.
I actually kind of did this first thing this morning with a cup of coffee. Like, I was up till about 3 playing that fucking game, and then, like, fuck this, go get some smokes, get a couple of cups of coffee, and had one, had most of the other one, put it down, had a snooze for a couple of hours, woke up, fuck, I'm thirsty, there we go, cold coffee, there we go.
Yeah, no, or like that one time where you don't actually finish your beer, right? And you wake up, and there you are, 8 hours later, at your desk, and there's a half full beer. And you're like, this is going to be the grossest thing ever. Fuck it. Right? You fucking drink it, don't you?
The worst one, though, is when you don't remember which one the ashtray was, and you pick up the...
Oh, I've been there. Oh, that's horrible.
Spit out a cigarette, but fuck.
And then you drink it anyway. No, I'm kidding. Like that's even too far for me.
Oh no, that's shit sickening. That'll literally.
Yeah, no, it's bad.
With our day. Are you prepared for that? Because that's what we do. Number 5. We like the album Diver Down by Van Halen. This is actually a good starter for you. We like the joke songs on it. We like Eddie Van Halen's guitar solos. So I think the first step for you being a man and sort of understanding the way we operate would be to listen to that album maybe 70 times. Number 6. You have to fight as a man, and it sucks. It's never because someone slapped your mom. So you never have that brave heart, yeah, I'm genuinely mad fighting thing. It's never that. It's always you spilled a girl's water, and then she told her boyfriend that you grabbed her ass. You didn't. And now he wants to fight you, and you have to fight him. Or some guy is harassing some chick, and no one else is your size in the restaurant, and I'm diminutive. And you have to go over and go, dude, you need to leave her alone. You need to get out of here, blah, blah, blah. And now you're in a fight that you feel nothing for. You don't like this guy or this girl, but you have to get in there. That's why you should never wear flip-flops as a man, because you're essentially on the national reserves. You're ready to be drafted at any time. And the fight is never a cool, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. It's always just like a, and then, it's horrible. But you got to do it. Now that you're a dude, we need you on our team. You're in the reserves. Number 7, we are horny at all.
Okay. No, before he gets to the horny thing, no. He has a goddamn point, right? We are always, like, in the reserves. We're always the asshole, like, yo, that dude's being a dick. You're like, really? Yeah, go handle it, Chris. Son of a bitch. I don't wanna. Like, why don't you handle it, Steve? Like, what the fuck?
I don't know. Like, things must go like this for me because I don't really get fights all that often, and it must be like the girlfriend goes up to the boyfriend and goes, "Hey, this guy grabbed my ass," and then he's looked over at me and went, "Yep, he can."
What? Well, then again, aren't you like 6'3" and like fucking 220 or some shit? Like, you're not the smallest guy in the world, are you?
Yeah, I'm up around the 220 mark. I'm just I think I'm 6'1" or 5'9", something like that. But yeah, fucking, I'm not the biggest bloke on the planet, but I just look really fucking nasty.
Yeah, no, like, I'm 6 feet tall. I'm about 220. You know, you don't necessarily want to go in the backyard and fight me. That's not your first thought.
It's usually the cut-off camouflage trousers and the kill 'em all let God sort 'em out shirt that really fixes the problem.
You know what I'm saying? And, Doku, men are gross, aren't we?
Oh, no shit. This isn't news.
And Gavin's about ready to get into how we're always horny. I mean, that's kind of a given. It's a given, Gavin.
Yeah, I mean, that's a well-known point. Like, from a biological standpoint, men have 3 jobs. Protect the family, hunt for fucking food, and reproduce. That's what we do.
Yeah, it's pretty much the 2 F's, right? Fucking feed.
Pretty much.
Fucking, yeah, I personally think there's fucking women that are always horny because they always say that, like, well, men think about sex every 30 seconds or some 15 seconds or 10 seconds or whatever bullshit fucking thing they want to pull out their ass this week. But I seem to see women banging on about men thinking about sex and who they want to fucking all this kind of shit way more than I fucking think of it.
Farty, just to make a case point here, it's mostly women talking about men thinking about sex, which means women are thinking about men thinking about having sex. I think you guys are a little more obsessed than we are. I just want a fucking beer and sit back and fucking not be bothered to fuck with shit.
Real quick, we got Pete in the chat. I'm not gross. My toes are more worthy to suck than grapes. I got nothing. Whoa. Okay. No.
I mean,
Yeah,
if
that took
you're
a hard
a
turn.
dude, yeah, if you're a dude and you're watching a football game and the only thing you can think about is sex while watching a football game, I've got some bad news for you, son.
Hey, stop touching my ass, all right? I told you that was sexual harassment.
I don't
Yeah,
consent.
yeah, Doku, answer yourself.
I couldn't help it. They just move on their own from time to time. I don't know what to do.
Oh, shit. Okay. Let's see what Gavin has to say about being horny. No.
All times. Now, I know ladies have a problem with this, but you're good. Better get used to it if you're going to be a dude. You remember in Men in Black where they took off that guy's face and there was a little dude in there? It was just like, hey, don't let the earth die. That guy is in our head at all times, just like, I want to fuck everything that moves, everything that moves. Even when you're at your buddy's house and his nana, his nona, comes over with the gnocchi, here, we make a this for you. That little guy is like, I don't know, maybe with some lingerie, some high heel shoes, we could work something out. Maybe, or you go in a time machine back.
Okay. I gotta pause. Okay, is that little dude in there like, yeah, I want to fuck my buddy's Nana?
Jeez, I wonder if she's so dry up there if I blew it, would dust come out?
Right? Like, what you do? Yes, a little lingerie and a fucking duster, and I'll clear the dust off that pussy. What the fuck?
A bit of spit, we can make it wet again.
So, Toku, is that little dude in your head? He's like, Auntie May looks pretty good right now.
See, this is the only thing I'm going to say. Men view sex as entertainment. Women have a completely different view of it. So yeah, that little dude is up there, not necessarily because we're always horny and want to fuck everything that moves. We're doing it for our own personal entertainment.
Fuck it, I've just found a new cause, a new movement. We got to start this, and we got to make hats with fucking slogans on the front saying "Make Nana's nunny wet again."
Fuck. Wrong time to be taking a drink.
Perfectly timed.
Points.
Oh shit. Okay. Back to Nana.
Into our heyday, we're constantly thinking about screwing things. I mean, inanimate objects are out, dudes are out, but for the most part, every single human woman is going through your brain as a maybe. So you better get used to that little Men in Black guy constantly telling you to get laid. Number 8, we like to fix things, and we find it fascinating too. Like, say your car is idling way too high and it's freaking you out. Check the antifreeze. Is it empty? Yeah, it is. Get some antifreeze in there. We'll go back to normal. Oh, the same with technology too. Men find this fascinating. You know the new MacBook Pros? They have no ports on either side. There's only one stupid port. So inevitably that one port is full of a dongle that has a bunch of other ports on it. And you go, isn't me looking at that dongle proof that you screwed up by only having one outlet? I mean, you have, even the iPhones with the battery cases on them, isn't that proof that they suck? And it's not valuable real estate along the side. Does this discussion sound boring to you? Well, you're probably not a man, because it's fascinating to men.
He has a point.
9, how it's made. They show how it's made, and they show you making a rubber hose. It's just a long, long tube, and there's powder everywhere, and we have a bar in the middle, and then we cut it, and then we put this thing on. Men watch that, and it's one of the few times they're not totally consumed with sex, because we're just fascinated. Oh, like the making of this microphone. I can't wait to see that episode. We love how things are made, maybe because we end up making a lot of stuff, so it's plausible to us. I think a lot of women see a hose and they go, well, a man makes that. I don't.
Okay. I heard you trying to speak up, Farty. I'm guessing you agree with him, right?
Oh yeah, I've seen the microphone episode. Yeah, the hose episode was fucking interesting. That show actually makes my dick hard.
God damn it.
I'm I'm sitting here bouncing up and down like a little fucking 5-year-old about to open his Christmas presents. Like, yeah, oh, he said fucking how it's made. Oh, yeah, I like that show.
God damn it. Okay, Doku, come on. Tell him. Well, he's not wrong, is he?
No, he's not wrong at all.
Yeah, we all get a little semi-hard watching how you make a hose.
Dude, I fucking love that show, and one of my favorite episodes is how they make cranberry juice, because damn, dude, it's complicated. There's a lot of steps that go into fucking making just a bottle of fucking Ocean Spray cranberry juice.
Yeah.
You would never think it.
Hell, fucking the sewage processing fucking plant was fucking interesting.
Although my favorite episode is always going to be the making of a Nimitz-class aircraft carrier. That is fucking awesome.
Oh, yeah. Big machine.
I hate you all. and you're right, because it is fucking fascinating. You know, like, okay, I ran a CNC machine. I bet you anything I could do how it's made fucking episode on vacuum forming and a CNC machine, and you two fucking dorks would watch it and eat that shit up.
Oh, yeah.
You're damn right I would. Dude, you're talking to the person that, as a kid, one of my, like, goals, because I'm a kid, obviously, one of my goals is I'm going to build a motherfucking airship. I'm building a damn Zeppelin. And so I get bored in class and sit there and start trying to, like, do the measurements and, like, find the equations to figure out, like, what temperature of air heated to a certain point will lift a certain amount of weight. How many beds do I need? How much food do I need if I'm going to cross the Atlantic? Like, yeah, that's the type of shit I did as a kid, and I know I'm not alone on that.
Yeah, no, and it's just flat out fascinating. Like, if you look at the demographic that watches History Channel, you're looking at 18 to 55, and we're all men. All of us. My wife doesn't sit down and watch the fucking History Channel, bro.
Dude, I grew up on that shit. Like, History Channel, Military Channel, Nat Geo, Discovery. Like, nah, dude, fuck the cartoons. I want to hear about the fucking Korean War and Chosen Reservoir.
Aliens, bitch. No, no. God damn it.
Aliens.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about it. We're the guys who actually make the rubber hose. So when we see how it's made, we go, oh, that's how I would make a rubber hose if I was ever told I had to make a rubber hose. And we love it, so get used to that. And that brings me to the final one that you might be surprised about now that you're a man. We're actually sweeties. Yeah, I know we're rapists, but we're also the guys that arrest rapists. I know we started slavery, but we ended it too. You can have a glass half full, half empty thing, but I've known men for a long time, and we're actually a lot cuter and nicer than you'd think we are. We just want everyone to get along. We're easily annoyed by loud noises and people going, nah, 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 nah. That's why the divorce thing works out so well in women's favor. And it applies to pretty much everything. We just want you to calm down and sit down, and we don't want to fight. We already got in a fight about a glass of water about 30 seconds ago. So we just want things to be good. And I was talking to porn star...
Okay. I'm going to let him finish, but come on. Okay, first off, we just got in a fight about a glass of water 30 seconds ago. We just want you to shut the fuck up. How more of a man can you be than that? Right there.
But I love the segue. I was just talking to this porn star over here.
Yeah, right? But, I mean, seriously. And, he's right. We are sweet. We do love our wives. We do want to make them happy. You know what I mean? Like, we are generally nice guys. We really are.
Well, that's the thing. Sorry, Farty. No, that's the thing. Men build things. We want society to grow and progress so that everything is better for everybody and it's more prosperous. The only time that we're not kind, that we're not sweeties, is when you come and try to destroy the shit that we built and fucking steal our wives and fucking enslave our children. Then we're going to fucking rip your goddamn head off. But for the most part, nah, we want to build shit. We want life to be prosperous. So we can make a better life for our wives, our children, our grandkids, take care of our parents. That's what men do. If it means I got to go fucking hunt some elk in the fucking, negative 20 degree fucking middle of goddamn winter, well, if my fucking family has to eat, then guess what? I'm the one that's sitting there making a fucking bow. I saw that episode on how it's made. And I'm going out and I'm hunting elk in the middle of fucking winter.
And bitches need to realise too that if some weird dude just random comes up and says that, you remind them of somebody, don't get fucking freaked out and carry on like, oh, he's gonna fucking stalk me and shit. Because no, he's just gonna go off remembering the person you reminded them of, and that face is going to fucking haunt them for hours afterwards. It's fucking depressing.
It's true.
Mm.
Well, no, and the thing is, yeah, we are the ones who think about leaving something behind for our family, for our ancestors. We are the ones that plan ahead. Women might live longer. You live longer because we protect you. I'm sorry. The truth is hard. Suck it up, Buttercup. We protect you, so you live longer.
Yeah,
that's the way it is.
That's one thing. The military and the emergency services and all this kind of stuff is that, like, women want the man in uniform. They want the big, strong protector and, this, that, and the other thing. But the instant they have to go out on a job at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning or something like that, why aren't you at the home? Why aren't you here with me? Why aren't you doing this? Because I'm off doing this fucking dangerous ass fucking job just so as we can keep food on the fucking tables and maybe, society can keep functioning and shit like that. But you're not here with me. You're not here with me, so I'm leaving. And they always fuck off and leave these blokes for like some fucking useless dead shit down the fucking street. And it's like, you know what? You're not even fucking worth it half the fucking time.
Oh, that's the thing. When we're not off fighting the fucking wars to protect what we built, we're the ones that are fucking digging the ditches, mixing the mortar, and laying the bricks. It's been that way for thousands of fucking years. That's kind of the reason that, our bodies are different. We're the ones that do all the heavy fucking lifting. Y'all take care of the fucking kids. That's how it's biologically supposed to be. Hey, facts don't care about your feelings.
That's why my body is broken now. Literally. In several places.
Yeah, because again, we're the ones that do all the fucking heavy lifting. I'm sorry. There are certain jobs that women excel at. There are certain jobs that men excel at. Ours just tend to be a little more. Well, I hope you have good life insurance because you might die at the local fucking steel mill. Just the way it is.
Speaking of picking up shit heavy, like I used to love having this conversation with Sheila's. They're like, women are better than men. I'm like, okay, pick up that box. Oh, I don't have to. No, just pick up the box. You reckon you can? Go on, do it. Oh, but that's not my job. That's beside the point. Pick up the fucking box. No, I don't want to. I don't have to. And well, then shut the fuck up.
Well, no, and the thing is, okay, you want to talk about the life expectancy between men and women. Men do the heavy lifting. Men do the back-breaking physical labor. Therefore, we die younger. Unless, of course, we're married. If we're married, a married man is known to live at least 10 years longer than an unmarried man. And you know why that is? Because men themselves refuse to go to the doctor. We refuse to give a shit. We put up with it. We just soldier on. Walk it off. You know what I mean? It's the wife who shoves us to the doctor. It's the wife who, is the caretaker, right? That's her job. It's her job to be the wife and the mother, the caretaker of the situation. Where the man, it's his job to be the protector and the enforcer. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong at all. Go ahead, Farty.
Yeah.
I think Farty wanted to say something.
Yeah, go ahead, Farty.
No, I was agreeing. I just said, no, you're not wrong.
Well, no, and that would be why the life expectancy is different between married and unmarried men. It's because of the wife. And, yeah, my wife, she's a bitch. She's a mother hen, and she'll shove me to the doctor. That's her job. Because I'm not going to go on my own. I'm not going to.
Well, just kind of an interesting point to make, since we're on this. Another difference that I've noticed between men and women. Men like order. They like structure. Like, I know my routine is crazy. Like, if you looked at my living space, you might think, oh my god, he's messy. He doesn't know like where the fuck. No, if you asked me to find something and I knew I had it, I know exactly where the fuck it is. It's chaotic looking, but it's ordered and structured in my own way that makes sense for me. Every single woman that I've ever known, with the exception of maybe like less than 5% outlier, are just chaotic as shit. Like, I remember walking into like some girl's college dorms because like, hey, we're supposed to go to the bar and you're 30 minutes late. It's not because she's putting on fucking makeup. It's because she doesn't know where the fucking makeup is because her room is a fucking disaster fucking area. Like, they don't even know where the fucking clothes that they want to wear are half the damn time.
They don't even know what they want to wear half the fucking time.
Fair point. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, people might think men are messy, gross, dirty. No, the fact that you think we're messy is because everybody has like their different way of organizing and ordering things, but for the most part, there is method to our madness. The reason that you might think we're dirty and gross is because we don't have time to do the fucking clothes and clean the fucking dishes because we're too busy out fucking doing working and breaking our bodies and getting dirty all over again. So we just say fuck it and put on the same fucking clothes we wore yesterday because I'm going to be finishing that fucking ditch I was digging yesterday. No point in washing it. Am I wrong on that?
No, I concur, actually. Yeah, you're pretty much right.
Mercedes Carrera recently on my show, and she told me about a thing that I thought was very telling. She said that male porn stars will sneak in loving intercourse in between shots. So when you see they're like, yeah, you like that? Yeah. Dude, when the cameras are off, he's like, can we snuggle? And they'll like and have love-making missionary position over on the side and hope they don't get caught because they're not in character. So now that you're a man, you should get ready for a lot of gross stuff, a lot of technical stuff, and a lot of nice stuff, because that's basically what being a man is.
Okay, what he says about the porn star thing, I didn't know that. Do you buy that? That's kind of weird, right?
I don't know, actually, it kind of does make sense if you think about it, because yeah, do men like to fuck and do we view sex as entertainment? Yes, we do. But when we actually love someone and care about them, as our role as protectors, yeah, we want to make you happy. We want to protect you. We want to make sure you're well fed and the house is warm and the fucking fireplace is well stocked and the fucking car is running and there's fucking gas and water. Like, so yeah, no, that makes perfect sense.
Well, like there have been times when like I've been so fucking like exhausted from like working that fucking yeah, fucking all I really wouldn't mind doing is just fucking snuggling, fucking being real comfortable and shit like that. As fun as making Susan squirt 10 feet 15 times every fucking night was, as fun as that was, but fucking there was just some times that I just couldn't be fucking bothered. But if you don't do it when she wants to do it, then, oh, you must be getting it from somewhere else. And then that starts another fucking fight. And all you just want to do is just fucking sit back, relax, and just fucking, get comfortable and fucking, have her lay on, like, head on your lap or fucking, lean up against you or fucking whatever, your arm around a fucking. And you can't even do that half the fucking time because, well, they want to do something else now. Because last night they weren't really feeling like it, but they went and did it anyways. But then the next night they really, really, really want to, and you're absolutely fucking exhausted, like you're literally falling asleep standing up, and they're like, "Oh, we want to go and do this fucking highly physical activity now." Oh, fuck, really?
Yeah, no, there's certain times where it's like, okay, I've been awake for the past 36 hours. I'm sore in muscles that I didn't even know I fucking had. I want to eat a warm fucking meal, sit by the fireplace, drink a beer, and fucking just try to fucking relax and calm the fuck down because I know I'm gonna have to wake up in the next 6 hours and do the whole fucking bullshit all over again. Because that's what keeps fucking food on the table.
I actually, I'm gonna be that guy. I don't get you two right now. I really don't. I like sex, dude. If my wife's in the mood, I'ma hit it. All right, like I'm not bitching about it because she's all over me. Why would that be an issue at all? She's all over you. She wants you. That's a good thing.
That's a good thing. That's not really the point me and Fardy are making. The point me and Fardy are making is sometimes, yeah, we might want to, we might get turned on, but at the same time, sometimes you're just fucking physically broken and exhausted. Like, you can't even stay awake at work. You almost fucking hit a deer driving home because you're falling asleep. You get home, you don't even eat fucking dinner. You just sit on the couch and fucking pass the fuck out.
Yeah,
That's what we're talking about.
You go ahead and do the deed, and you fall asleep halfway fucking through it because you're that fucking exhausted. And the next thing you know, you can't even fucking have a bloody kip or anything like that because she's there fucking waking you up going, I'm not bloody finished. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Well, to be fair, it'll be like, okay, you want it. All right, fine. I'll give it to you. I'll make sure you're happy. Then the second that we're done, I'm fucking going to smoke a fucking cigarette, if I still smoke cigarettes, and then I'm drinking a beer and I'm going to fucking bed. Like, there, are you happy? Great. Happy wife, happy life. Awesome. I can fucking finally go to sleep.
But that's the thing, you know, the Sheilas are the ones that want to snuggle afterwards and we just want to go to fucking sleep. But then, like, there's the times when we just want to snuggle and go to sleep, and then they want to do all the physical shit. Shit, make up your mind. And it always seems that they wait until you're too fucking exhausted to do anything, and then they want you to do something.
You know, that is a good point. It's like when you want to do something, then they're like, no, not in the mood. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to go to bed early tonight. It's like 9:30. I'm fucking tired. I'm going to go to bed. And they're like, hey, fuck you, bitch.
Oh, and here's the thing. Men are biologically hardwired to want to have sex. Like, it's just in our blood. It's in our brains. Like, that's one of the primary purposes, reproduction. Otherwise, the species doesn't fucking exist anymore. That is hardwired. Women are hardwired for the same reason, but on the other side of the coin. Like, they know how to use their sexuality. They know how to, like, that's where the trope of playing hard to get comes from. Because they know men want to fuck them. Do you think a guy can go to the bar and get a free fucking drink from a woman? Not unless you're looking for a fucking MILF or a cougar who's looking for a sugar daddy. That's usually not going to fucking happen. But any mildly attractive chick can dress up, make herself look fucking cute, go to the bar, and pick a guy and get a fucking drink, and it won't take that much effort. Because women know how to use their sexuality. It's a biologically driven thing.
I got a free drink once off a woman, and this was a free coffee from McDonald's, and no, it wasn't because she wanted to know me and get me pants or anything like that. She was just simply doing a random act of kindness. Yeah, I'll get whatever the person behind me's getting too.
And yeah, women will do that as well. Well, I mean, that's just, I don't think that's a man or woman thing. I think sometimes it's like, I'm having a good day. Maybe I got a raise. Maybe I just feel like being nice for the sake of being nice. So it's like, whatever the person, like you said, whatever the person behind me is getting, just put it on my tab. Or like, I'll leave you an exceptionally nice tip. It's not because I want something from you. It's just I feel like being nice.
But the thing about that is, though, that we actually have a tradition out here called a shout, right? If it's like whoever's shout it is, like if you go to a bar with a bunch of mates and shit like that, and you take turns in shouts, and you'd usually have the fucking idiot mate who it's his shout last, and he usually fucks off. Oh yeah, see you guys, I've got to go now when it's his turn. But like, if you go and shout somebody something, like usually blokes will shout each other a beer. It's like, oh come on, I'll shout you a beer, or shout you some dinner or something like that. And it's usually that's mainly a bloke thing. It's very rare to see a Sheila shout somebody something, especially if it's like a complete stranger doing a random act of kindness or something like that. I did appreciate the coffee, I really did. I was having a fuck morning, and that just sort of took all the wind out of me. So I was like, oh, cool, hey, thanks. Hey, didn't know what to do after that, but fucking, it's very rare for women to shout anybody anything.
Yeah, actually, I have noticed that. You bring up a good point. Like, when it comes to like, are you holding the door open for me, or like, are you buying my next drink, or like, you know what, I'll comp your tab a little bit. It's usually guys that do that. Like, even when it comes to like bartenders, the bartenders, like, unless you're like friends with them, if you're like at the local bar, like my bartenders take really good care of me, but that's because I'm a local and I always tip well. So I'll get like, a free drink every now and then, or like hey, we made some extra mott sticks. Here, do you want them? But for the most part, now it's usually dudes that do that type of shit. I don't have women hold the door open for me, and I've had women give me really dirty looks for holding the door open for them. It's like, dude, I'm just trying to be fucking nice. Calm the fuck down.
Yeah, shit, I'm coming out the door first. You're like 2 seconds after me. Here, I'll just keep the fucker open for you.
Yeah, it's called being fucking courteous. But then women are also more, like, they're the same ones that'll sit there and say chivalry is dead. First off, chivalry was never about treating women with respect. It was a code of honor amongst knights. But no, chivalry's not dead. Y'all just get mad at us if we do. You get mad at us if we don't. And in stereotypical male fashion, we just decide to say, you know what? Fuck it. It's not even worth the effort. Screw it. Do it your damn self then.
And then going back to the men always think about sex thing, it does really come off as like when you do something like you hold a door open because the turtle just happens to be female is like 3 seconds away from the door and you've already got it open, so why not pause for a couple of seconds and keep it open so, they don't have to fucking... Because it's fucking rude when you let a door go and then, it slams in the next person's face or something like that. And then, that's just fucking rude. But I always get the opinion that, like, they look at me like, oh, you're only doing this because you want to get in my pants. Like, that's not what I was thinking at fucking all.
Yeah, no, normally what we're thinking is it would be extremely rude to let the fucking door close on your fucking face because we're thinking, well, if it was me and I was, if the roles were reversed, I would be kind of mad that the person didn't hold the door open for me. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. It's just fucking rude. It's just common courtesy. It's called manners. The fuck? It's not like I want to get in your pants. I'm not that desperate, damn it.
Okay. Top 10 things wrong with kids these days.
Hey guys, a lot of times people see these diatribes and they say, oh, you're just an old man yelling at a cloud and you just hate the kids today. Get off my lawn, man! Yeah, it is that. And I would like to take some time out to point out 10 things that is the matter with the kids today. 10 things that are getting on our fucking nerves. Number 1, the Backyardigans is gay. I don't mean gay in the homosexual sense. I mean it the way you guys use it, which is in the wrong context, which just means lame. Actually,
No, he is totally right. The Backyardigans are fucking gay. I mean, seriously.
Sorry about that. StreamYard's fucking crashed.
Yeah, no, and Zell. Oh no, Christ almighty. Please tell me y'all are watching Gavin ironically. Zell. I like Gavin. I think he's funny. Sue me.
I watch Gavin in the same light that I watch Alex Jones. I might agree or disagree with their opinions, but I watch them for entertainment first and fucking commentary second.
I think he's hilarious, dude. And the Backyardigans are gay. I totally agree. I hate that fucking show. And I've been forced to watch it way too fucking much in my life. I hate that fucking show.
Teletubbies were fucking rude. Like they were mixing swear words and all sorts of racial slurs and stuff in the gibberish that they were saying. Like, there was sometimes, like, they even caught them saying fuck once. No kidding.
No, dude, the Teletubbies are fucking creepy. Like, I never watched that show as a kid. I watched it for like the first time when I was like 7 or 8 years old. And I'm not going to lie, that shit freaked me the fuck out. I was like, what the hell kind of demonic bullshit is this? Why do people find this entertaining? Can we go back to Blue's Clues or some shit?
That's the sun baby. That was creepy. The baby's facing the sun.
Okay, Zell says he's a rich, fake pussy. He is rich. I wouldn't say fake. He's even admitted to being a pussy. So you got 2 out of 3 on that one. He panders like Crowder and the rest of them. I happen to like Steven Crowder as well.
I like Crowder for the reason I like Alex Jones. I like him because he's a dick. Like, I don't necessarily agree with everything he says. Like, he's very hardline, stereotypical conservative, almost to a fault. But he's still entertaining to me. I think he's a dick, but he's an amusing dick. So, points.
I actually can't remember the last time I watched Gavin McGuinness apart from like this. Oh, I think it might have been. Wasn't fucking what's her name, Lauren Southern, fucking part of this?
Yeah, they were working at the Rebel Media together. Yeah.
That'd be it.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and see.
Backyardigans is every definition of the word gay. Number 2, you all suck at hide and seek. I'm sitting there behind the door in the laundry room. You walk in, look around and go, meh, I'm done, and leave. It's called looking behind the door. And then when it's my turn, you go and choose your spot and then say, go count as you're getting behind the laundry hamper. Do you think I'm blind? Now I have to go look all around that rest of the place pretending I don't know you're right there. I can hear you shifting around too. And by the way, when you're caught, you have to yell ollie ollie oxen free and touch home base or it doesn't count. You don't just go, oh, you got me, it's my turn now. It's your favorite game and you don't know how to play it. Number 3, why do you got to get up in the dark? Why do you have to get up at 6 a.m.? I'm hungover. Getting up after 5 hours sleep at the age of 45 is brutal. And I don't get it. If you go to bed late, you still wake up in the dark.
No. He is fucking right. You know what I mean? Like, you little bastard. I'm fucking hungover. Shut the fuck up.
All right, real quick. Dade, maybe I should have reworded that. Crowder is a stereotypical conservative. Like, everything he does, every argument he makes, whether I agree or disagree with it, it's a stereotypical conservative argument. Hardline, okay, maybe not. I'll concede on that one. But he is a stereotype. And that's partially intentional, partially not. At least he's not a fucking warhawk or a rhino, though.
Well, no, and I'm sorry. I'm sticking to his topic here. Yeah, you little bastard. I'm hungover. Shut the fuck up. Okay? Stop waking up at 6 a.m. I let you stay up till fucking 1 in the morning. You're still up at 6 a.m. You little shit fuck. No.
So
Sleep.
the video is 10 things wrong with kids these days. Everything he's pointing out is shit we did. So I don't really know where he's going with this. Because when I was a kid, I used to annoy the shit out of my parents, and I would be up before dawn. But the thing is, they would be like, I'd be like, I want some cereal. Go get your own. I was like, okay, and they'd let you watch whatever. Especially on a Saturday, because they weren't plastered or anything. It's just like they both work. So it's kind of like, we're tired, we're sleeping, leave us alone. Go down, eat your cereal, watch HBO, and at like 4 in the morning, that's back in the 80s, that was kind of dangerous because you never knew it was on. But from what I've only been watching for like 5 minutes in the main chat out there, and shit he's pointing out is shit kids do regardless of what generation you are. I'm not sure where he's going with this.
See, I don't know. Maybe I was
a bit of a... baby boomers, but the one about baby boomers is actually better. The reason baby boomers suck. Because it's shit I've seen people do. And I'm glad you reworded the fact that you said he's a stereotypical conservative, because that's actually more accurate.
Yeah, no, I thought about what you said, and I was like, okay, I should rephrase it. He's not a hardliner, but he is a stereotype.
He's very stereotypical of what people would think is stereotypical. And when he actually has his debates, he's one of the better people that allow people on the oppositional side to have their say, as to where everybody else would try to, edit him out. Look at the UMass video with him and Christina Hoff Sommers and Milo. That was just fucking insane. I mean, that's the atypical thing of people to bitch about. They want people to have you can have freedom of speech as long as I allow you to have it. It's like, no, Steven Crowder's like, one of the things that came out the other day, so we can get back to this, was he was talking about all the bullshit that Twitter and YouTube was doing. He says he doesn't want people on the left, the right, or the center to be censored because that's basically saying nobody can have their say, which is bullshit. So anyway.
No, I agree, and that's kind of the reason. One of my favorite things that Crowder ever did, I like the change my mind thing, because he can be a bit of a dick and intimidating. He's got a large voice, a large platform, and he's a very bombastic personality. So to all the people that sit down and participate in his Change My Mind segments. I have respect for them because that takes a bit of balls knowing who Crowder is. But my favorite thing he ever did is instead letting the students actually debate instead of him doing it.
They
won't let them do that anymore, which is bullshit.
Okay. So Zell says, homosexuality. Am I right, guys? Blah, blah. Bible, right? Damn leftists, right? Hey, Gavin, why'd you abandon the very gang you sent out to engage in violence? Shut the fuck up. I fight the good fight. It's just boomer pandering points so he can...
Gavin's a Gen Xer, and like I said, if you actually watch the video where he complains about baby boomers and what they do, it's very astute and accurate. So if you want to bring that one up when you get a chance or watch it, please do.
The baby boomer video is actually my favorite Gavin video because he's spot on, 100% correct.
Oh, it's fucking scary as hell because my parents were silent generationers, and they saw that the baby boomer parents were doing this shit. And I saw my every friend that I had, their parents all got divorced except for like one family and myself. And it's because the baby boomers were the me generation. It was all about me and all this other shit. Anyway, back to the kids.
Yeah, no, let's go ahead and continue on here.
If we're traveling somewhere, it's a different time zone. You still somehow learn that it's 6 a.m. I want to buy you an iPhone so you can check your tweets in the morning. That wasn't a fart, by the way. I was moving on a leather chair. God, you're juvenile. Number 4.
That was totally a fart.
How can you not feel that? How can that not bother you? Don't you have nerve endings? I don't get how you're so set. Ow, I don't like this. Ew, this is gross. Blah, blah, blah. And then you'll have your shirt on backwards and inside out, your shoes on the wrong feet, and snot all over your face. I thought you were picky. Now you don't mind being covered in mucus? And then every time you wipe it, there's just new troops that come in and replace the old guard. Getting kind of sick of changing your outfit 15 times a day.
Right?
Number 5, are you a sociopath? I have told you to stop hitting your siblings many, many times. You don't hear it. And here's what creeps me out about you. Another kid that you're related to could be bawling his or her eyes out, and you just sort of go and watch them cry. This has never happened, but I have a feeling if we were farmers and one of them lost an arm, you would just stare at the blood shooting out of the hole and just go, oh, that's really coming out of there. I'm scared of you.
Okay. Right?
No, dude, he's not wrong. Kids are fucking sadistic. They're creepy, and there is no logic that goes on in the mind of a child. Like, bugs are gross, but then, 30 minutes later, you're over there digging in the fucking dirt trying to eat worms. Like, no, dude. Don't try to understand the logic of kids, because next thing you know, they're going to be sitting there in the fucking corner at fucking, 3 a.m. pulling the wings off a fucking fly. Kids are fucking scary.
Oh, kids are fucking evil. I remember when my 2 girls were growing up, they would beat the crap out of each other, and their mom, my ex-wife and I would just go to them and go, why are you guys beating each other up? They're just like, we're not doing that. You just imagine it. And my ex-wife and I, we literally just saw them pound each other into the ground. And they got bloody noses and shit. And say, well, what's all this from? And my daughters are just looking at, well, you're just seeing things. And I'm like, oh, I'm just seeing things. So that's not blood on your nose. And I lightly touch their nose, and one of them would be broke. They go, oh, that hurts. And I'm like, I barely touched you. I'm going to tell grandma, blah, blah, blah. And so I pull out the old rotary phone. Yes, this is back before cell phones and shit. The cordless phone, I said, here, call your grandma. So they'd call my mom, call her grandma, and grandma's like, well, what'd you do to deserve that? And they go, you're taking deaths? I said, no, I just don't want to put up with this. Leave me alone. I'm watching TV. Click.
Yeah, no, I love that. Like, I'm gonna tell grandma. Yeah, go ahead, you little shit stain.
It's like grandma's gonna overrule anything I do, And had my parents been baby boomers, maybe, but my mom was like, I'm watching Oprah. Leave me alone. Click.
Fucking Oprah.
Yeah. You get an iPhone.
Well, back then it would have been you get a spanking and you get a spanking and you get a spanking and then you all get to go to your room and nothing. But that was just the thing. Is that I love my daughters. Don't get me wrong. They will now when you talk about it, like I don't remember that. Yeah, okay, sure, Jan. And my mom would say, well, you guys used to do this. They'd look at each other like, we never did that. And I'm like, and I'm rolling my eyes over here and all this other shit. And then of course we whip out the family yearbook or the family picture book, and those would be pictures. That's the kind of shit you record to blackmail your kids with later, especially if they beat each other up.
Marsha. Sorry, you said shut up, Jan.
No, I said sure, man. But the thing with kids is, like when he's talking about the time zone thing, that's just automatically ingrained when you're a kid. And the other parts about kids being vicious little bastard, that's also ingrained in being kids because they are able to look at you and think that you're stupid because they fail to realize you were once a child and you know most of the tricks.
Yeah, no, kids are evil little spawns of Satan. We'll continue here.
Number 6, destroying sucks. If it's of our dog Leroy, it's not even in the same universe as him. Number 7, bad news. You're not fast. This thing with the running, what do you think you're slicing the air? Wind resistance is not a problem with athletes, and you're not an athlete. You think because you have new shoes they make you faster? We're lying when we pretend that we're blown away by how fast you run. And guess what else? I'm letting you win. Have you seen my legs? They're twice as long as your entire body.
Yeah,
I can win a race with you while reading a book. I have to do a fake run to let you win.
Oh, pause it. I gotta tell you this.
Yeah, he is so right.
One of the best things that I know this is true because oftentimes when I would, like they always ask you if you got a guilty conscience because you did something wrong, even though it wasn't as bad as you think it is. And it gets to the point where the parents make you punish yourself. One of the times I did something, I was sneaking up behind my sister Raquel, and I was going to go booga booga and scare her, but I silently sneezed and gum flew out and landed in her hair. And so she flipped out, and she was due for a haircut anyway, but she flipped out, and I thought my dad was going to kick my ass. So I ended up running out of the house, hiding around every corner of the house, and he's just sitting there reading the paper. And then I run back in, and I'm out of breath. And then he gets up, and he went to get his lunch, by the way. It was on a Saturday. He was not chasing after me. So I'm running literally around my house 3 or 4 times in a row, waiting for him to get mad at me. He's standing there on the porch, eating a sandwich and drinking a Pepsi in the old school can. And he says, okay, go to your room. And I went to my room, and I said, aren't you going to punish me? He said, yeah, I think you did enough to yourself. So he's not gonna chase after me, and I wasn't as fast as I thought I was, but he knew to say, I'm not gonna deal with this shit. You're gonna wear yourself out and then still go to your room. And on top of that, I had to take my allowance and pay for my sister's haircut because I accidentally sneezed and bubble gum got in her hair.
Well, no, and Gavin's totally right. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're slicing through the air. Your shoes are super fast. No, they're not. And I'm 6 feet tall. You're like 2.4. Like, fuck you.
Yeah, but the whole point is that you're supposed to let them win every now and then just to bolster their self-esteem and all this kind of touchy-feely fucking nonsense.
There's a fun point to make here. Kids think everything can be solved either through talking or through some kind of physical action. No, here's the thing. We're physically stronger than you, we have more life experience, and we're smarter than you. So we'll go ahead and let you win because you're dumb enough to actually think we're not trying. So no, we're gonna use your own ignorance against you. At least that's how my parents were.
Yeah, that's what I was pointing out. My dad made me, after a certain age, made me punish myself.
Well, you're kind of right there, Doku. When I was a kid, I used to settle things by physical activities. If some cunt pissed me off, I'd flatten them.
Well, again, that's what kids do. Like, boys, girls, it doesn't matter. It's like, well, if it's not broken and you don't like the fact that it isn't broken, hit it harder. I'm sure that'll fucking work. After
my God. Mad Dodge, you got daughters, right? It's a simple yes or no question. You have daughters?
Yes, unfortunately.
Okay, so what little girls do is they grit their teeth, give you a dirty look like they're going to kill you, and go, and stomp away thinking that they've achieved some type of high ground, knowing that they're your little girl. and think that that's going to get them out of punishment. So they don't necessarily talk and they won't hit you. They think they can bat their eyelashes or just throw a little temper tantrum and get away with it, as opposed to my nephews who always were beating the crap out of each other. And I go, "Are you guys done yet?" And they go, "Yeah, you want to do something about it?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I grab one of them by their pants, their belt loops in their pants, and shove them in the car and say, "Yeah, now what?" You know, the vastly different thing between boys and girls at certain ages is the girls will emotionally try to manipulate you as a parent and get out of getting in trouble. And boys will either try to bullshit you or they'll want to fight you. So that's the thing he's not bringing up, is the emotional, psychological effect that little girls think they have on their parents.
Yeah, no, and you're absolutely right, because, you know, my daughter, Brianna, my little princess, as I call her. Okay, she's already got leverage on me because I called her my princess, right? So she's already working that angle. And yeah, she's batting her eyes and daddy, no, you little brat, you're still in fucking trouble. Go clean your fucking room. Like,
It's actually worked the opposite for me. I mean, like, Susan's daughter and her sister, fucking Linda, her daughter. When I've pissed them off to a point that they've done the grit, the teeth, but then they've also done the double arm over the head thumping, fucking sort of, you dirty rotten, and I'm like, oh yeah, just a little bit lower, yeah, oh that's the spot, yeah.
well, no, and they're like, I love my daughter, but she is a manipulative little shithead, just like her mother. And hey, it is what it is, you know, use it if you got it, right?
I just realised what I said sounds really, really wrong. Let me fucking sort of clarify here. They're about as high as my knee, and they're usually thumping like the lower part of my thigh, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, a little bit lower. Yeah, that's the 10 spot. Yeah, they weren't thumping me in the dick or anything like that.
Yeah, nobody thought you were being weird, I don't think, dude. That didn't even enter my mind, bro.
Nobody thought that until you mentioned it, which is why I tell people not, ever say shit around me. I never get the idea to do something evil until they think I've done it and tell me that I did it, even though I've never done it.
I was expecting Farty was describing a free back massage.
Yeah, that's what I was alluding to. Yeah.
Alright, let's go ahead and continue.
Number 8, you're not strong either. You show you know when you show your grandmother muscles, and she holds them? She's holding a kraut, a sausage. It's just an Oktoberfest sausage. You don't have any muscles, and you don't even know how to tense them. This is how you tense a muscle. You just have these weird tube arms that look like they're from the Muppet Show, but we're pretending that you're strong.
He's obviously talking about kids before
they don't even feel it. And if we punched you, you'd go flying across the room.
That's very true.
Number 9. This is a whole bunch at once. But it's not amylos. It's animals. And you don't put on a mask and say, it sounds like I'm Spider-Man. It looks like you're Spider-Man. These don't get sounds. These are the sound things. And it's not crickety cricket. It's Jiminy cricket. And a bike saw? I had to write this down. A bike saw. How do you get bike saw from motorcycle or motorbike? And it's
how do they spaghetti?
Lastly, the elephant in the room. And parents, if your child is still into this, I would please encourage you to stop watching this guy. Now, don't you think it's unusual that the toys you get for Christmas look exactly the same as the toys on your birthday? Why is there a UPC code? Why do the elves bother with the logos of the toy manufacturers? I'd understand if at Christmas you got wood toys and a wood car and a gingerbread man and maybe a little thing that goes bloop and a ball goes in a hole and it's all wood. Yeah, those are elves. But elves are spending all the time in the factory manufacturing plastics and getting logos right and getting the right insurance shit. They're elves. They don't need that. I don't think you believe it. I think that you are pretending to believe it because it's free money. Why not? Hey, don't rock the boat. This is a toy machine. I think you think that we're stupid, and we believe it, and you go, okay, believe it. Whatever gets me presents. Boo.
I think he's overthinking it because
You're
kids
stupid.
don't give a shit about that.
You're stupid. Stamped.
Okay, alright. Yeah, go ahead. I'll pause.
No, I think he's overthinking. I think he's overthinking and overstating certain things, like because the kids don't give a crap about what the packaging looks like, the UPC codes and everything. Let's say they see a transformer and they say, I want that one for Christmas. Okay, well, we'll put it on the list of Santa. And they get that, they're going to identify it as, oh, that's the transformer I want. They don't give a crap about anything that's on the back. They only want the toy that's on the inside. They only use the packaging designs as an identifier. So I think, maybe he's being a smartass, but I think he's really just overreaching certain things in regards to his last complaint.
Santa's a real cunt, actually, because fucking back in the 1980s, I wanted the original Megatron toy that actually looked like the Walther P-38, the one that was so fucking realistic looking that fucking they banned it in Australia.
Oh my god! Yeah. Let me guess. Santa, you a bitch ass nigga. You gonna pay what you owe.
Hey, Santa Claus, you cunt! Where's me fucking bike? I've unwrapped all this other junk and there's nothing that I like. I wrote you a fucking letter and I come to see you twice, you worn-out geriatric fart, or you forgot me fucking bike.
You do realize that your Christmas is like in summertime, so fuck you.
What?
Australia, December, summer.
Yeah.
It's a different... Do I have to explain the laws of physics and temporal and space and time and all that shit to you? Do I have to explain
the difference between the fucking northern and southern hemisphere to you?
Thank you. That's exactly it. It's like, seriously, Mad Dodge, they don't get winter.
Yes, we
have
do.
winter. Yeah. They get snow.
It is currently snowing in Tasmania.
Oh, wow.
Where the fuck is Tasmania?
That's the little island we disown down south, and no, it actually fucking snows in the Blue Mountains, which is just west of Sydney, which is halfway up the fucking country. There's a place in southern New South Wales called Terralga where it does in fact snow in the summer sometimes.
Interesting.
Perisher Smiggins, there was a fucking Perisher Falls and Smiggins Holes. That's our snow grounds. We actually do have the Australian Alps, where it does snow every winter.
Yeah, no, the Australians are almost as bad as Jersey people. And yeah, no, I saw you in the chat, Tiger Lily. I had to. Sorry. Yeah, Jersey Shore, am I right?
God, you never mention that fucking name around me.
Alright, 10 favorite things that Gavin's dad said.
No,
let's see.
I heard about these. I've never seen one before. Don't talk about your parents. God, it's so boring. Especially immigrants, I've noticed that. Like Korean girls will always talk about their crazy Korean dad. It's not interesting to listen to immigrant.
No, they don't.
Yeah, no, and somebody knocked on my door. I'll be right back.
Probably DHS.
They heard the Santa Claus you cunt song.
Well, no, it's probably one of his old neighbors who was being an asshole and that moved out and then tried to move out again. Where he lives at is like it's like the Jersey Shore of trailer parks. Let's put it that way.
God damn it! I'm tired of hearing that fucking name.
No, he's
Stop reminding me that show exists.
I hate that show, but you know, it's in gifts.
He's getting a delivery for
like everything else on the planet.
Fuck, do you wait until I start speaking and then you fucking speak or what? Now you fucked the jokes, Dave.
Okay, I'm back. No, it was the neighbor kid knocking on the door. That's all.
So don't tell me the quirkiest things your immigrant dad said. Unless you're me. My dad's fascinating. He's from the Gorbals, Glasgow. He's a street kid. Now, I grew up fine. He worked his ass off, brought us out of Britain, brought us to Canada, where we grew up middle class, did a pool, everything was awesome. Although cheap people
His
get you
first
crappy
mistake
toys.
is he
I
needs to
didn't
go to
get the
Canada.
I got his boss, Oscar Goldman or something. Just a man in a suit at a desk like this. I basically got this for Christmas once. I would like to share with you my 10 favorite Jimmy McInnes quotes. That's my father's name. Number 1. I was introducing him to my girlfriend and my parents.
Pause it.
My mother brought out my teddy bear that I had when I was a kid. It's called Teddy.
Really? Like, pause it before you even says his first
Redeye
one?
were born, Gavin.
Oh, okay. Alright, fair enough.
Looks kind of garish now. Half a century old. He's got an eye hanging out. And my dad looked at her and he goes, "You like that? You like Teddy?" Ah, fuck Teddy. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but it's actually a good technique. What you do is you present new people the worst of you. You say something outrageous, possibly racist, sexist, homophobic, whatever. And if they run away screaming, you know that person was going to do that eventually. So it saves you a lot of time. I can't recommend enough for your first impression to be terrible with someone. Number 2, he accuses my brother and I of lying. And he the way he phrases it is, he lies with facility. I don't know, I just like that word facility in that context. Number 3 is a little more fun. He goes, "The best thing about Glasgow, you never get homesick." And I talked to a Glaswegian about that. And he goes, "That's mostly true, but not entirely actually, because Hogmanay," which is their New Year's Eve, "Hogmanay, I miss. So that's one day out of the 364, but the other days, he's correct." Which brings us to number 4, where in Cuba, he barked out, "Glaswegians are stupid, ugly, and violent." And a Glaswegian woman was there. And she turned around and goes, "See you, fuck you, you prick! You're ugly old man, you're disgusting! I'll kill you! I'll murder you right now, I'll bat you so I will!" And my dad goes, "You just proved my point."
Right.
Because she was ugly, he's ugly. She was threatening to kill him, which is stupid. We got the violent, everything's in there. They did it. And of course, those two ended up arm in arm singing till all hours of the night, kept the rest of the family up.
Yeah, real champion of people, your dad is there, Gavin.
Number 5, this one is going to make you feel sorry for me. He said, "I have a multitude of ways Gavin could save money on taxes, but his IQ is too low for him to understand." If your father says you have a low IQ, you likely have a low IQ. This guy's been around. He's watched your brain develop, and he's not happy with what this blue blob has become. But his 2 biggest problems are that my brother and I won't listen to his tax schemes, and that for some strange reason, the IRS is always auditing him. Auditing him. Yeah.
So once again, who has the low IQ? Probably your dad.
My 2 biggest problems are no one will listen to my inventions, and I'm constantly fucking broke. Number 6. Now, he's got a lot of death ones. We were dealing with a death in the family recently, and everyone was sad but him. And he was mad at me for being sad.
Wait a minute. We had a few deaths in the family, and everybody was sad but him. Did he kill the motherfucker?
Well, on the taxation thing, yeah, it fucking reminds me of this Scottish joke. I once saw a Scotsman ripping off his wallpaper. No, he wasn't renovating; he was moving.
Well, no, I'm serious. Like, did his dad kill the motherfuckers? I mean, everybody in the family is sad but his dad, and his dad's upset that he's sad. I think his dad killed the bitch.
It's actually quite a Scottish thing that fucking feuds kind of last a few centuries. Like say the feud between the McDonald's and the Campbells. That's a fucking 700-year-old bloody feud, and it even extends to today, where you got Campbell pubs and McDonald pubs, and if you're a McDonald, you can't go in a Campbell pub lest you get your head kicked. Same other way around.
No shit. Like, I walk in, I go, "Yo, the McDonald's are awesome."
You'd be dead quicker than a black fella would shoot you in Chicago.
Well,
Yeah,
what if you
that's how
were
you-
asking
that's
where
how you get a
McDonald's
Gazlo
was
grin.
just to get some fast food? What if you go into a Campbell bar and you say, "Hey, where can I find McDonald's and get a hamburger?"
I don't think they're that dumb.
I'm just checking because you never know.
Well, no, and like they can't tell the American accent. I mean, like they're just gonna be like, "Fuck you."
Hey,
You're talking to a guy who goes into the Irish bar that is literally 7 blocks from where I'm staying with, till family business is done. And I go in there with a Scottish accent and I go, "Scotland rules," just for everybody to start throwing shit, just for fun.
So it's kind of like that moment on The Patriot, right? Where he walks in and he goes, "I don't know if this is the right place to recruit." He's like, "Okay, well, just a second. God bless the Queen!" And everybody throws fucking knives at him, right? He's like, "Yeah, I think this is the right place." Hello? Dead air.
I was waiting for his video. I didn't think it was that funny.
Well, I did. Fuck you.
Because why cry? The guy's dead. And he yelled at me, "I could die tomorrow and I wouldn't give a fucking shit!" It was that loud, too. He also said, I didn't include this one, and this is a freebie I'm giving you, an extra, but he goes, "I could be content in an abyss. In an abyss. I could be content in an abyss." And then he added, "If there was a chair, that would be ideal. A six-pack would be nice too. But those would not be mandatory." He speaks in an affected English accent, which he claims is because people can't understand his normal accent. But I think it's because he's trying to sound more aristocratic, which is big in Britain. They like to have posh accents. But Dad, that's death, you realize. Don't say that around Mom. To say you can be happy in an abyss means you're fine with death. You're supposed to be scared of death. And he goes, "Ugh, get over it. It's liberating to accept death." Number 7. This one's a cute one. "Are you a man or a mouse, boy? Squeak up." I say it to my kids now all the time. You end up, all those horrible things your dad says, like, "I'm not heating Stinson Avenue," you end up saying that about your street. I'm not heating Prescott Avenue," when they leave the door open in the winter, or same with air conditioning in the summer. You become the guy. It's like that horror movie, The Beast Within. When you turn 18, you become your dad. Well, later now, 35. But,
35, damn it!
And when I say to my kids, they just go, "Squeak." They accept it. They go, "I'm not a man. I'm 4. 4-year-olds are not men. But they are trans." I'm on the right side of history. But yeah, he has a lot of those. Like when we play pool, I like to be delicate when I play pool. And we have a pool table in the house. I told you we grew up middle class. And I would just touch the ball. I don't think about my next shot. I just want this to go in gently. Serenity now. And every time that would happen, I'd often fuck up and I wouldn't give it enough gusto and it wouldn't even make it to the hole. And my dad would go, "Lorraine!" She wanted a girl. "Your wish came true. You got a girl. We got a wee girl in the house." So I put that in the same category as squeak up. What are we at now? 8? One morning he woke up and screamed at me, "Oh, for fuck's sakes!" Now, in his defense, Marvin Gaye was popular, and I wanted him to wake up because I wanted to hang out with him, but he was sleeping in. He's probably hungover, as I am right now, actually. And not knowing what the song means, but I went up to him and I sort of peeled the covers off his face. And I whispered,
No. Okay. Hey, Doku, are you hungover, buddy? He was probably hungover like I am right now.
No, it's very rare I get hangovers. I can count the entirety of the hangovers that I've had in my entire life. I can count on both hands. It's 8.
Some gives you the impression that, like, if he's hungover right now, that last video, and he mentioned that he was hungover and the kids just stopped leaving him alone. I get the impression that this is in his garage and his kid is sitting behind the camera and he was actually fucking speaking to him.
Yeah, no, like, how much do you drink, dog? Like, you're always hungover. I get it, you're Scottish. Like, I understand. But son of a bitch.
Nah, Scottish people, true proper Scots, don't fucking get hangovers because they're always fucking drunk. He's only half-ass Scottish.
And yes, Dade, this is the top 10 reasons Gavin's dad is a douchebag. Absolutely.
Wake up, wake up. Let's make love tonight.
What? Wait a minute. We jumped forward a little bit, buddy.
After that, never suggest making love to your dad. They don't like it. Number 9, we were playing Trivial Pursuit, and I suck at that. I don't get. It's like Marilyn Monroe first met Walter Matthau on the shooting of what classic? I don't know. Marilyn Monroe film. Some Like It Hot. Wasn't she in that? Wasn't that like a drag queen thing? I don't know. I don't know any of that stuff. And so we were playing in teams, and it was like my in-laws and my wife.
Because he's an uncultured swine.
And he screamed that because I kept getting the questions wrong. I kept not knowing things. He snapped and said, not even remotely kidding, I don't want this person on my team! He knows nothing!
He's like Jon Snow.
Number 10, this is my favorite one because it was very astute. Like, the thing about kids who grew up poor on the streets is they really can deliver their barbs in a very efficient way. They're not petty. They just take some truth and then they just turn it into a little penknife and just jab you in the neck. We were upstate, and he said, oh my God, Shahola, Pennsylvania. I know someone who owns a barber shop up here. I know him from Florida. They go to Florida in the winter. So he goes to visit him, and he was there, and he said hi, and then he came back to my house. He goes, can you believe that? Is that no interesting? And I go, no, it's not interesting at all. I don't care. You know a guy who lives nearby? There's no story there. And he goes, yes, you would have a reaction like that. And then he goes, your friends are in media and entertainment, and those people tend to be shallow and stupid. And I sort of did a tally of...
He's not wrong.
...in media and entertainment, and a lot of them are shallow and stupid. Moral of the story, your dad's not interesting, my dad is, but all dads are right all the time. You may think they're wrong. I think Mark Twain said his dad was dumb when he was 18, when Mark Twain was 18 and 25, and then all of a sudden his dad became smart when Mark Twain became an adult. In other words, your dad's always right. It's only just a matter of time before you figure it out. Hey folks, go to rebelcruise.ca. What the thingamajig?
No, actually, let's actually.
I could stand to be around his dad if my dad was a very simple man. He worked at his job, he paid the bills, and he took care of his kids, and he raised us right. And the most that you would get out of him in a conversation is one of 4 things. It'd be whatever. He'd say, I guess, or whatever. He'd be literally whatever, I guess, or if you say so. And that's more pivotal. That's more pivotal to a person's growth than Gavin McGinnis's dad freaking the fuck out all the time. The way he makes him sound. He makes his sound like makes his dad sound like his dad's an imbecile.
Well, no, it's for humor, but no. Okay.
That was funny. I missed it.
Okay. Let's actually speak about this though. The ending statement. Your dad is always right.
Of course I am.
He is, isn't he? Your dad knows you better than anybody else, whether you like it or not. When you're a teenager, you want to rebel against your father because you know he's right, innately. It's deep down in your core, you know your father is right, and that is why you're rebelling. That's why.
No, I didn't like anybody. I didn't rebel because I had a problem with my parents, and it wasn't because I thought my dad was better than me. I genuinely hated everybody because I had zero self-esteem about myself in junior high and high school, which was not their fault. So no, I didn't rebel to rebel. I rebelled because I hated everybody, and my dad knew this. So when we went out and did things, like I've told people, when I turned 16 and you actually had to have a parent to go with you to see a rated R movie, when Terminator 2 Judgment Day came out, he worked his 12-hour shift at his job, and he took me and we watched it. And he could have not done that. And when I started listening to whatever I wanted to listen to, he was not going to have it. He didn't want to hear it. So he went out and bought me a really good set of Sony headphones. So my dad was always there for me in the way that it mattered. He never chastised or criticized me unless I did something stupid and deserved it. And I never rebelled against him, and I never rebelled against my mom. So that particular philosophy, Matt Dodge, does not apply to me.
Okay, well, let's look at the rest of the panel. Doku, MC, Farty, what do you guys think? Does the teenager rebel against the father because innately you know that your dad is correct?
No,
Not really.
you think that you're smarter than your dad.
Yeah.
You think that you look for the opportunity, all right, to prove your father wrong because you're trying to find your own way to a large extent. To sit up there and say, hey, I'm not just here to be taught. Okay? So that's where I think a lot of the angst and a lot of the rebellious nature goes on. All right? The other thing, of course, is you do not want to hear, okay, that the person you think of as a pal, the person that you think of as a friend, is nothing but a scumbag. Okay? You don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear your father's assessment, all right, of your friends. And that's where a lot of it starts. Well, my dad doesn't know my friends. My dad doesn't know, Charlie. Charlie's not that bad a guy. No, Charlie's a scumbag. You just haven't clued into it yet. Eventually you will. And those things play out as well. And of course, what do you do when that happens? And your father turns out to be right. Now you're even angrier because your father was right? And ended up proving, instead of proving your father wrong, you ended up proving your father right, which is just even that much more annoying.
My old man was completely opposite to probably what everybody else had. Like, he was too busy worrying about my dickhead brother being a fuckwit and going off the rails to be bothered with me. But then, I went off and joined the army, became a firefighter and all this kind of stuff, got my fucking driver's license the first time I could go and apply for it and all this kind of shit. So, they were too busy trying to intervene with me brother. They were basically just supporting me on what I wanted to do. And the only sort of pushback that ever happened was, like, say for instance, like when I joined the Rural Fire Service, I did the probationary stuff, I did the courses, got my uniform, and I come home in the uniform one day and my dad's just going, "What the fuck are you doing dressed like that?" And I was like, "I've been a firefighter for 3 months." And he goes, "Oh, okay."
Okay, so, alright, I'm a parent. So, I'm looking at it from the father's perspective at this point, right? And I was raised by a single mother. I had a stepfather. I didn't know my real dad. And that did affect me. It made me go out of my way to make sure I took care of my kids. You know what I mean? Made sure I would be in their life, no matter what. So that's something that's on me. But now I'm looking at it from the dad's perspective, and my son is just being a fucking jackass. Just not listening, doesn't get it, doing everything he can to fuck his own life up. And he just won't listen. Is it because I'm dad? Like, he refuses to listen to his father because of the simple fact I'm his father? It makes no sense to me. It's insane.
Well, there is going to, like I said, a lot of it has to do with the friends and so forth. All right, that your son has grown attached to, all right, and the friendships that they develop. You have to let them make those kinds of mistakes, even though, unfortunately, it gets to the point where some of the mistakes that they're preparing to make, and you can see it coming a mile away, are going to be drastic mistakes that are going to haunt them for the rest of their lives. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Now, all kids are different. All of them are going to react to things in their own way. there's really not a lot you can do, especially once they turn into the teens, all right, because that's when they start exploring and doing things on their own. And you'll become, like what your dad was. You'll become very, very smart, all right, to him after he's done screwing up his life and then says, okay, now I've got to try and unscrew it. And you're not going to be able to help him. He's going to have to figure it out himself. That's just the way it is. Now, as far as the rebellious attitude and everything, you have a worse problem because, let's be perfectly frank, your eldest son is from a divorced wife, and like it or not, that has an effect as well. All right, because women are vindictive in a lot of ways. In that one regard, I would say that you've got a harder row to hoe because of that. Instead of helping to raise the child, it sounds to me as if your ex-wife is actively working against you. Not in that she's trying to do what's wrong for her son. All right, but the fact is she can't help herself in poisoning the well.
I would agree. Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to look at it too, you have a different standpoint between sons and daughters, right? Like, okay, my daughter Brianna, my little princess, right? She's gonna break my fucking heart. She is. And what it's gonna be is, a boyfriend or something. But that's not the same way my son is gonna break my heart by going to jail and fucking up majorly. You know what I mean? There's a difference.
Of course there is, and it's gonna come down. It comes down to just the individuals, the individual children. Like it or not, they're still individuals. They're the ones. Ultimately, they're the ones that are going to decide their own lives. All right, it's up to them to utilize the skill sets that you've given them. Whether they use that for good or whether or not they misuse it and abuse it and turn into nitwits, there's not much you can do. I mean, you just have to sit back, watch it. You wait for them to turn around, and if they turn around, great. If they don't, well, that you can't force it. You can't tell them to turn around. They're not going to listen to you then.
But shouldn't you try?
No.
No? Why?
Not necessarily, because it depends on the situation. All right, it really depends on the situation. Is it something that you can truly affect? No. Yes. If it's something you can truly affect, great. Then go ahead and try. But if it's something you can't affect, if it's something that you can warn them, and that's the most you can do. Other than that, how else are you going to fix it?
Yeah, but as a parent, I mean, you're a parent as well, man. You don't want to sit there with your hands under your lap. You know what I mean? Like, these are your children. You want what's best for them, even if they can't recognize it. You know what I mean?
We should wonder and see what happens. All right, whether you can affect it or not, it has nothing to do with them being your children.
Yeah, no, and I know already I'm gonna kill all my daughters, like murder. As soon as they bring home a boy, yeah, hey Pete, come here. Let's go into the back room. Hey Robert, here's the shovel. Another hole.
Dad, sausage again.
You know what I mean? Like no. No dude is coming near my daughters. They're all gonna be nuns, and that's just the way it fucking is.
I want you to think on that. Think on that really well. Let's say that several of them decide to become nuns. Can you imagine what's going to happen to you?
I'm going to heaven at that point, right? I did good.
No. All full morality. No more drinky. No more smoky. No more naughty with your wife. You made them go celibate, they'll make you go fucking celibate too.
Oh shit! And creepy little book's like, who, me? And like, I didn't even know you were still listening, buddy. I pulled the name Pete out of nowhere. But no, I mean, it really is hard being a parent, is it not? Especially nowadays, circa 2019, where you don't even know how you could discipline your own kids, right?
Well, you know how you can discipline them. The problem is that there's people that don't want you to discipline your children.
Yeah, like I had this conversation with Susan and Naomi. They didn't want to chastise Jai. They didn't want to hit him or anything like that. But like he was a drug-affected baby when he was born, so he had behavioural issues and all this kind of stuff. And then his mother was just fucking useless and wouldn't do anything. And it's like, look, you don't like. Okay, there are people out there that like come home and just like tuna casserole, thump, 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 fucking pound their kids into a bloody pulp. You don't have to do that. You can spread this out over the space of a few months, and it's like, oi, don't. And then when they start challenging the oi, don't, it's like, you raise your pimp hand, it's like, oi. And then fucking eventually it will come to just a gentle fucking clip on the ass, like don't fucking leave bruises or anything like that. It's just like, oi, you just done something wrong. And then you can go back to, oi, remember what happened last time? And then progress back from there. And you can get like fucking 6 full months out of just doing that without even having to touch the kid. But then you got fucking...
But you'll run into the issue where there are kids that were like me.
Okay, no, I'm gonna tell you the goddamn truth. Okay, my son freaking out, hitting the wall, wigging out. He then decides I'm gonna run away. I look at him and go, no, you're not. He goes, oh yeah? I go, oh yeah. And he takes 2 steps forward. I put out my hands and I lightly push him back into his room. I do not throw him, which I could. Once again, 6 feet, 220, 230. I could definitely shove this kid, right? I don't. I put my hands on his shoulders and I stop him from leaving the house. He then acts like Dennis Rodman and takes a basketball flop. And then 2 days later, DHS is at my door. For those who don't know what DHS is, it's CPS, Child Protective Services. Yeah. There they are at my door accusing me of child abuse. Wait a minute, what? I stopped this kid from running away. Would you prefer him to be on the streets with nowhere to sleep? Or would you like me to stop him? Whose side are you on, really? You know what I mean?
Neither. Whichever one has the better figures.
The fact is that it's better for them to put you into a program because that works well for their numbers. So they're definitely looking at any excuse to put you in their process, to put you in their programs. They have an incentive. They've been incentivized to add you to their programs because that's how the government works. Has it occurred to anybody since we've gotten all the Child Protective Services and that supposedly they're doing all this grand, glorious work that we're having more and more and more cases of child abuse, not less, ever since we brought them on board? Now, a lot of that is because they themselves get to define what's frickin' child abuse. And they're not, the thing is that a lot of these people, they're government workers, they're looking at it from a government perspective, they're looking at it from their job perspective. They don't care about the actual, whether or not someone's actually being harmed or not. They really don't. In a specific sense, maybe in a peripheral sense, because that's kind of what they're supposed to be doing. But overall, they don't give a shit at all.
Well, that's because they're looking at what little check marks in boxes to mark off.
Right, but they're doing that because they know the more check boxes they can check on somebody, the quicker they can get that person into one of their programs, which then bumps their numbers, and they're now incentivized to bump their numbers.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's essentially children's prison, like privatized prison.
Well, more specifically, they're doing it because it benefits them personally. Like, yeah, sure, maybe you care about the kids, maybe you don't. I don't know. I'm not going to fucking judge you or put words in your mouth. But at the end of the day, it's your job. You're not doing it because it's a charity case. You're not doing it because you actually really give a shit. You're doing it because at the end of the fucking day, no matter what you fucking tell me, you're not a fucking saint. You're doing it because someone somewhere is writing you a fucking paycheck to do it.
Well, no, and Tiger Lily in the chat. My dad was in foster care, and I would put in it right there, and it fucked him up till the day he died. Yeah, when it comes to foster care, okay, you have a lot of people who run foster homes just because they get $1,000 a child, so they stack up their house. Yeah, you get like 8, 9 kids in there, and you know they have a fucking McMansion on government assistance. Why? Because they're running a foster home. And they don't give a fuck about the children involved. It is a revenue source.
Well, what works in those situations is the children themselves. Look, when you're with your brothers and sisters, they're still your brothers and sisters, and as a result, you have commonality there. When you talk about a foster home that has 6, 7 kids in it, none of them are related. All right, they have no points of real commonality, all right, aside from the fact that they're in the system. But why they're in the system, their individual circumstances, their individual personalities, none of that is something that's organic to the family. It's not something that's been part of the family that's grown up. No, in fact, it can be jarring. So in those kind of environments, you're not helping anybody.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Kem, you were trying to cut in. Go ahead.
No, it's all right. I've known a lot of people that were in the worser situations of foster care, and it really does a number on them.
Would you be in the same camp as I am? And this is what I mean. When it comes to foster care, a lot of times, the children are abused, especially if they are female, and teenagers. There is a very big problem with that. Am I right there, or do you believe I'm wrong?
Oh, no, I actually do believe that you are 100% correct. Now, obviously, it's a case-by-case basis. You can't lump everything up. And I really do hate to say this, but from what I've encountered with people that have been through the system, the females are just mean and brutal with the kids because they're not necessarily their own kids.
Well, no, and I remember being in high school, right? And okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. The sluttiest girls on the school campus were the ones that were in foster care. They didn't give a fuck. And I believe that was probably because they were already abused. Therefore, their inhibitions were already lessened. I really do think so. And that is a fucking issue. You do have abuse in the foster care system.
A lot of it, unfortunately, yes.
And Doku, I see that you rejoined. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. No, I think Comcast is doing work on the fucking lines or some shit, because this is like the 3rd time my internet's fucking crashed.
When are they doing work? They fucking suck.
Yeah, well, I don't really have a choice because homeowners associations are amazing.
Well, no, and
Doku.
well, no, and Doku actually, I want to pose the question to you. Am I off base when I talk about the foster system and abuse of young ladies within that system? Because I do believe that if you remember high school, the sluttiest girls were the ones in foster care, dude.
Dude,
Real
you
quick,
are so full of shit in regards to that, Mad Dodge. It's not. That is not even remotely accurate. It's like Chemist said. It is a case by case basis. I can tell you that. I can tell you this from personal experience, since my parents were foster parents before any of my siblings or myself were born, and it is a generational issue. If anything has changed within the last 25 years, it is because the Democrats and the liberals have basically pushed the idea of let the government do whatever the hell they want, and we're going to have all these alphabet agencies monitor everything. And like Doku said, it's basically everybody overreacts to what is considered or not considered child abuse. And this, in my day, the sluttiest girls did not come from certain homes or certain types of homes. It's because they wanted attention of boys because they were average girls, and it was just the style of dress. So your overall hypothesis does not play on every single level, every single field. I would say, if anything, it's more accurate to these days because of everything that Doku and I have mentioned, specifically how things have changed with the alphabet agencies known as DHS specifically within the last 20 years itself, since at least 2000. That's just my 2 cents, man.
Okay, real quick, Kim wanted to say something. I want her to say what she's going to say, and then I will lay down everything, how I feel about the conversation up until this point. So, Kim, go ahead.
Well, there were actually 2 things. One, I don't have that much time, so I was wondering if I could steal you for a minute. But the bigger point that I wanted to bring up was that many women tend to be like ministers' daughters and whatnot when they go crazy, as opposed to foster kids. Foster kids are a lot more like weary of other people.
Yeah, no, I understand your point on that one because there's a difference between being a mother and being a teacher, and this is going to come up later. But, you know, that stereotype does exist, and it exists for a reason, because there's not that biological tie. It's not your biological son or daughter, so you're acting more like a teacher, not like an actual mother. So there isn't that bond. Like, that has to be earned, both on the mother's part and on the part of the child. That's a big problem with the foster care system in general, because they're acting like administrators from an orphanage, not like fucking parents. So talking about the dad thing, I couldn't comment on that because me and my dad didn't have a good relationship until I was well into my teens and had already begun making stupid fucking decisions to begin with. We didn't have a good relationship until I was like well into my mid-20s. Now he fucking employs me, and I'm the one that gives him investing advice. But that was a well of trust that had to be filled up very slowly over the course of many, 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 many fucking years. So my personal situation is completely different.
That well has been building the entirety of our relationship, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, it has. Like,
I mean, that's 7+ years.
Yeah, I'll put it to you this way. It's not until I was well into my 20s where I was referring to my dad as dad and not by his first name. And he would call me by my first name instead of calling me son. That's the type of relationship we had. My parents got divorced when I was very young. I don't even remember it. He was a Navy pilot, carrier pilot, and they got divorced when I was maybe like 2 or 3. I don't even fucking remember. So it's, my dad never even had the chance to know me, and I never had the chance to know him. So my relationship with my father is completely fucking different. So I can't comment too much on what Gavin McGinnis or what you guys were saying. But as far as the whole the foster care system and like what Dade was saying, this is a larger societal issue. And the one instance that really stands out in my mind that is a stark reminder and a prime fucking example of why this mentality is such fucking bullshit is because one of the first things when I moved from Texas over here to Virginia is it was the principal and the guidance counselor that had to sit down with me and talk to me and basically told me how things were. All the 6th graders had their own little section of the school. All the 7th graders had their own little section of the school. All the 8th graders had their own little section. No one shared lunch periods together. Everybody stayed in their own, quite literally a literal fucking box. All the classes were in a U shape. 8th grade was furthest to the left. 6th grade was furthest to the fucking right. 7th grade was smack in the middle. They separated everyone. Everyone had a different fucking guidance counselor. And I remember sitting there with this fucking, and I'm going to be crude, this fat fucking bitch trying to tell my mom, this is how your son is expected to act going to this school, which is a public school, by the way. It's not like I have a fucking choice to go there or not. And she's sitting there fucking telling my mom how to act and how she should, quote, quote, parent me. And I actually started fucking laughing. And she thought this was the most insulting thing on the fucking planet. And she's like, what do you think is so funny? And I looked at her square in the fucking face and I said, what's funny is you think that you can fucking boss my mom around, let alone me, because I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. And I cursed right there in front of her. My mom looked at me and she's like, what did you just say? And I was like, yeah, you just heard me. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. Who the fuck are you? This did not start off my my year very well, by the way. I was in the dean's office. I bet it was fair to say that that fat bitch that you're talking about didn't have kids neither, because oftentimes guidance counselors and people in levels of authority of that nature, they've never raised kids. So if you've never raised kids, you're going to throw your weight around, and I don't mean literally, you're going to throw what power you have around in whatever position of authority you are, telling other people how to raise their kids, which is one of the biggest problems we have with DHS across the board. A lot of those people that work there don't fucking have kids, and they don't know shit.
Once again, those who can't do, teach.
Well, that's also the reason, and I actually do blame a lot of, granted, it was my personal decision. I take responsibility for that aspect. But what pushed me to making a lot of the stupid decisions that I made of my own fucking volition, knowing full well what I'm doing is stupid, was because I was kind of just pissed off because, you know what? When my teacher doesn't know what the accurate history is about, say, I don't know, the Battle of the Bulge, or what a fucking electronically traded fund or an E-track is, or, just basic fucking Voltaire or Keynesian economics, Voltaire, Prussian educational theory. When I know that as a fucking student and my teacher doesn't, and yet somehow you're sitting there trying to fucking, use your authority to push me into doing a certain way or think and act in a certain way, it's going to piss me off. And once I'm pissed off enough, then I'm going to start to rebel. That's why I would fucking call the school and tell them, yeah, no, I'm sick. I'm not coming in. And you can send a truancy officer to my door. Guess what? I'm not going to open the door. It's private property, motherfucker. I know how the law works. I'm going to tell you to go fuck yourself. Then I'm going to sit in the fucking basement play World of Warcraft, and drink a bottle of 151 and smoke some fucking cigarettes because fuck you, I don't care, screw your authority, and the only person I will actually fucking respect is going to be my mom, because you know what? She's the one that birthed me, raised me, she's the one putting fucking food on the table, she's the one that fucking stayed up 4 fucking nights for 2 fucking years trying to get her fucking master's degree so we can have a decent fucking life. What have you fucking dumb cunts on a power trip done for me? Nothing. Because you don't care. You're just on a power trip. So as far as I'm concerned, you can go fuck yourself. And if you don't like it, fucking put me in handcuffs and throw me in jail. If not, get the fuck out of my way.
Yeah, that's kind of the same issue I had with.
Fucking fuck's sake, Dave, shut the fuck up! Christ,
no, I don't know who you think you're talking to, Farty,
no,
but I am not anybody else.
Dickhead, because you've been stepping on me fucking dick all fucking day now.
You
shut the
wish
fuck
you
up.
had a dick, you little asshole. Nobody fucking takes your shit seriously.
Would you shut the fuck up, you dickhead? No cunt wants to hear about you and your fucking career bullshit and fucking dick dog. Fuck off, you fucking dumb
cunt. So why don't you grow the fuck up and why don't you start showing some manners? And
go fuck yourself, you fucking homosexual cocksucking fuck.
You're stuck in one of the stupidest, worst fucking countries ever. You can't take
you fucking homosexual cocksucking fuck. Go fuck your fucking gay lord little fucking Korean fucking man boy.
You swear at everybody and you think you know everything.
Because you won't shut the fuck up and let people fucking talk for fucking 3 fucking seconds. All I wanted to do was say something for 3 fucking seconds. But no, you want to fucking carry on like this. Nah, go fuck yourself.
You be quiet.
Go fuck yourself, cockfucker.
You be quiet.
Go on.
Fuck
you, dickhead. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Fuck your child.
Thank you for proving my point.
Go fuck you, dickhead. Go fuck yourself, dickhead. Right. Yeah. The problem with cunts who can't teach but fucking they can't do but teach is that they're fucked at fucking teaching. That's all I wanted to say. Now, fucking talk every cunt's fucking ear off about your fucking career, your fucking stupid bloody 2 daughters that no cunt gives a fuck about. You always fucking talk about every
it must just your fucking mouth. So bad that you come from a
Come on, cunt. Come on, talk about your fucking daughters and career because that's all you fucking talk about. Go on, come on, come on, come on. Come on. Come on.
That actually has nothing to do with the
you can't say shit now because what? You've run out of shit to say, hey?
No, it's just that you're a loser and nobody respects you.
No, I mean, you're a dumb
else
fucking.
Is there to say?
Hey, you should have heard the shit we were talking about you after fucking we all got off air last night. Yeah, that's right. Fuck off, you wanker. Right. All I wanted to say was just that fucking little thing, but no, he couldn't just shut the fuck up for 3 fucking seconds. Christ, he's fucking annoying. Okay, let's get on with the conversation.
I was going to take a step back and let you guys fucking air your grievances. Better to get it out in the open than let it build up.
Well, I got it out in the open. I've said what I wanted to say. He can have his fucking chance now, but hey, I was going to shut up. So, you know, he's just fucked off like a whiny little bitch.
Hey, I'm not picking sides. That was between you guys.
Dodge, you want to take control of your show?
All right, maybe.
No, I was sleeping. Are you guys done?
Yeah.
No, the thing is though, yeah, whiny little bitch. Why aren't you a whiny little bitch, Doku?
I don't think I'm a whiny little bitch. I'm an emotional fucking asshole and a prick. Yeah, I'll own that much. But now when someone in a position of authority that I don't respect tries to tell me what the fuck to do, well, you better fucking give me a reason to respect you before you fucking try to tell me what to do. Because if I don't respect you, well, I'm not going to do what the fuck you tell me to. That's why I hate the fucking Prussian educational theory that our fucking public schools are based on. That's why I'm very against big government. That's why I'm against fucking authoritarians. And the only time I'm actually respectful towards cops is when they're not fucking abusing their fucking power and trying to fucking tell me what the fuck to do. And instead it's like, oh, you were speeding. Okay, well, I was speeding. You got me red-handed.
Yorkie in the chat. Yay! Dade finally closed his mouth. Yeah, because he left.
Like, it's not just fucking me. You get up every fucking cunt's nose.
Kind of like cocaine in Charlie Sheen's house.
Yeah, but no, my point. I'm not talking shit about cops. I know they have a fucking difficult job because the majority of them realize people don't fucking like them. Because generally, people don't like it when you feel like you're taking away their personal fucking freedoms. Now, if a cop pulls me over and says, "Hey, you're speeding," and it's like, it's a 45, you were doing 52. All right, fine, write me my ticket. Here's my license. Here's my registration. Let's get this over with. It makes your job easier. It makes my life easier. I won't be fucking sitting here for an hour. Most cops actually appreciate that and let me off.
They get you off. Just a little slow-mo stroke on the side of the road.
I said, let me off, motherfucker. Get your mind out of the gutter.
Sorry.
Okay. It was a good opportunity.
Yeah, no, and no, we started the show talking about Gavin McGinnis. He's a funny son of a bitch, and you know why he's funny? Because he doesn't give a fuck. Because he fucking says what's on his goddamn mind and doesn't give a flying fuck. I respect that.
No, I agree. Like, the guy's entertaining. That's kind of the reason me and Shandor's entire channel is titled Exiled Opinions. People that are fucking overly sensitive and don't like the fact that we call them snowflakes and fucking NPCs, which, if you saw my tweets earlier, they use those terms like fucking bell bottoms are still in fucking style, even though a year ago they were fucking bitching about it. No, the reason we call you that is because you're an overly sensitive fucking little bitch, which is why I have respect for certain people and I don't respect other people. The primary reason is you can either own your shit and not be a fucking offended, overly sensitive, whiny little bitch and fucking say what's on your mind and not apologize for it, or you can be like fucking me and Shandor and say whatever the fuck you want and not give a shit what all the fucking whiny little bitches have to fucking say about it. Because fuck them, fuck their opinions. I don't give a fuck about your opinion. Your opinion matters less to me than my opinion matters to me. And if you don't like it, tough fucking shit.
Well, let's talk about tough fucking shit. Okay. I'm not even gonna pull up the Gavin video. We watched it last night. 7 reasons why you shouldn't take down the Confederate flag. 1, war wasn't about slavery. Prove me fucking wrong. Go ahead. I'm waiting. Abraham Lincoln couldn't prove it. Can you? Waiting.
The Civil War wasn't about slavery. It was about economics. And guess what? Slavery happened to be a fucking staple of the South's economy. So the second that you fucking abolish it, it kind of fucking throws everything for a fucking loop. It wasn't about the fact that, oh, we hate people of a certain melanin content in their skin or what their ethnicity is. It's no, think about it from this perspective. And I know this is going to be a very unpopular opinion, but that doesn't mean it's not the fucking truth. If you fucking paid for something and it's integral, necessary to running your business, making sure that there's still food on the table, and then suddenly some jackoff decides to sign a fucking piece of paper saying, okay, this is now illegal, you're going to have to restructure the whole thing. You don't just snap your fingers making that fucking law overnight and don't expect some kind of fucking pushback. And if you don't like the way I'm saying this, okay, let me ask you this question. That's the same fucking thing as saying, all right, well, you have a semi-automatic handgun that you legally bought and paid for. You're not a felon. You haven't committed any crime. There's no red flag laws. There's no reason to believe that you're going to go out on a fucking killing spree, and then suddenly some jackoff on Capitol Hill decides to sign a piece of paper, and guess what? You either turn over that fucking piece of your private property that you fucking paid for, or there's gonna be cops with fucking military, actual military grade weaponry knocking at your door that are going to forcibly take it from you under the threat of fucking lethal force.
Okay, alright, so, Tiger Lily. She says, everybody is so angry tonight. I thought I was the only one ovulating. Well, Doku is always ovulating. His cycle is continuous.
Cycle? You're assuming I actually have a cycle. No, I'm in a constant state of pissed off. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, he drops like 10 eggs at once. I'm surprised Kem hasn't knocked him up already.
Oh, dude, 10 eggs, man. You're giving me too much credit. I drop at least 3, but they're all golden eggs. Take that to the fucking bank and sell it.
Oh shit. No, I thought that was a brilliant comment. I had to bring that up. Okay. So yeah, you want to talk about the Civil War, okay? Let's talk about racism for a minute. Like seriously, I'll calm down. We'll tone it down here. We'll get really monotone. It'll be kind of like the History Channel.
Fuck your monotone bullshit.
No, okay. The slavery was force-fed to the United States people via Great Britain during the colonial days. We had slavery everywhere from Delaware to Boston to Shreveport. It was all over the place. And it wasn't only the British, it was also the French. It was also in the Caribbean. And after the Civil War, you had a lot of ex-Confederates move down to Brazil. It's actually kind of weird. They call them Confederados or Confederate, whatever. I don't even care because it's
Confederales.
Yeah, Confederales. There you go. I don't even care. It doesn't even matter. What you have is the simple fact that, yeah, Gavin is right when he says, yes, we participated in slavery. We're also the assholes who ended it. Okay? You had 620,000 American lives spill into the soil to end slavery. If the balance wasn't at 0 at that point, then I don't know what will do it. You know what I mean?
Well, there's your fucking reparations. People fucking died and bled over a civil war that, like I said, was based purely on economic reasons. It wasn't for some fucking moral, humanitarian, virtue signaling soapbox bullshit. Now, the reason the South was pissed is because you're going to tank our fucking economy because the South was not industrialized at the time of the law being signed and passed. That's why they fucking rebelled. End of story. What are the 3 reasons that wars start? Resources, religious reasons, or because it's purely a fucking revenge fest. That's why World War II started. You want to know why? Not because Hitler was a fucking asshole, but he was. But that's not the reason the fucking war started. The reason the war started is because, per Treaty of Versailles, Germany got fucked by the victors. Their economy fucking tanked. And then you got a bunch of fucking people who are really fucking pissed off that have a really strong sense of national pride. And now you just gave them a reason to have a fucking grudge against you. Are you not expecting them to fucking start a war? Are you dumb?
We have a civil war between the English in the chat, fighting over slavery. Good. It's about time. It's your turn. We've been fighting over this shit for 2 centuries. It's your turn.
Since we're talking about slavery, okay, the first recorded instance of slavery, where the fuck did that start? It was in the fucking Fertile Crescent in Mesopotamia, in the region that is now Iran and Iraq. It started in the fucking Middle East and fucking expanded over to fucking North Africa. Those are the fucking earliest recorded instances of someone with a bigger fucking spear and a bigger fucking dick than you coming in, taking over your fucking tribe, taking your women, killing your children, killing the men, and saying, okay, now you belong to us, you're no longer human, you're pieces of property. So I'm tired of fucking people saying, oh, white people, the Atlantic slave trade, this and that. No, motherfucker, it wasn't a fucking instance of fucking white people, Anglo-Saxons, Germanics, or Italians, or the fucking Chinese. No, that shit started in the fucking Middle East. That was their fucking practice. You want to know why it was a fucking practice? Because the land was so fucking infertile everywhere outside of the Tigris and Euphrates River that you needed fucking slaves to fucking work it. and you can't really fucking pay people to work in those kind of shitty conditions, so you put a fucking sword to their throat and say, if you don't work the fucking land, I'm going to kill your fucking children and then I'm going to rape your wife. That's how it started.
Actually, I hate to break it to you, but slave is a derivative of Slav, so Slovakia, Eastern Europe. Sorry.
It started in Mesopotamia. The term slavery, yes, you're correct, but the practice of enslaving someone in order for them to work the land or fucking tend to the kids or work the house, that shit began way before any of this fucking shit started. That shit was in the Middle East and the Fertile Crescent long before the written word.
Do you, okay, what is your position on the fact that the Bible institutes slavery? That to be a good servant is to be a good person, right? And you had the South actually preaching that to the slaves, and I believe that was totally anti-theistic towards the Bible itself, where you're trying to convince somebody to be a slave when the Bible itself is preaching freedom. But then again,
so I'll answer that. From a theological standpoint, technically we're all slaves, but we're not slaves to each other. We're not slaves to other human beings. The only people, or the only entity that we're slave to is God. We're supposed to not worship false idols. We're all servants of God. We're not supposed to worship other people as kings or queens. You can even bring up the give unto Caesar what is Caesar's, give to God what is God's. God controls two fucking things: the fact that we're alive and the fact that someday we will die. That's what is God's. Our lives belong to him. That's from a theological standpoint. When it comes to the idea of slavery, you're not supposed to control other people. If you truly look at the Bible from what it's trying to preach, from what the stance is, and like just listen to the Lord's Prayer, trying to oppress another child of God is to go against God's will, because we're all supposed to be free. Forgive those who trespass against us as we would trespass against others. The golden rule: treat other people the way you want to be treated. If you want to be a slave, well, you can't enslave someone if you're not willing to be a slave yourself.
Furry from Finley just basically made that point just then. Book of Hebrews states that the masters of I think he's supposed to mean states, the masters of slaves should be good to their slaves, and the slaves will be good to their masters.
And yeah, Furry from Finley has a point. Like that's supposed to be the idea. If you're not willing to be a slave, then don't own slaves. If you're not willing to own slaves, well, then you should be unwilling to be a slave. The whole point is about treat other people the way you're supposed to be treated, because we're all children of God, and there's only one and according to whether it's Muslim, Christian, or whatever religion, there's always the running theme of there is a higher entity, a higher authority, a higher being. So technically you're all slaves to them. You trying to tell the person on the left or the right of you standing in line that I'm better than you, you're my slave now, kind of is the antithesis of what most religious texts try to preach. In other words, don't be an asshole. Like, if you really want to sum it up, circa 2019, don't be a prick.
See, it's funny you mention it like that too, because like you ask about the royal family and like why is it still a thing and all this kind of stuff, and like I keep maintaining that the Queen of England at the moment is one of the coolest monarchies you can have, and people would rather be voluntarily her subjects because they get treated pretty much okay. What?
Well, the thing is, as long as if you're in a position of power like that and people are willing to actually follow you and you treat them well, guess what? You're going to have a lot of loyal subjects who are probably going to be a lot better off than if they try to just fucking wing it and go it solo. That's kind of the reason, that type of hierarchy even existed in the first place. It's sort of like I could build my own house, or I could hire the carpenter to do it, and I make sure I compensate them very fucking well.
Yeah.
You know, it's a mutually beneficial thing. Like, that's the whole idea behind the free market, too. It's why socialism and fucking communism don't fucking work, is because you have to force people to do something that they're not voluntarily engaging in. If you allow the free market to do things and just allow people to be free and act out of their own volition voluntarily, guess what? It's better for everyone, because now I'm not afraid of my house fucking falling down because I don't know how to fucking mix mortar and lay bricks properly. And I'll go ahead while they're building my house, and I'll go ahead and fucking plow the fields and make sure that the crops grow so that I can go ahead and, you know, feed them for a couple of months. That's kind of the whole fucking point.
Well, Furry from Finland says, 10 commandments equal love God and don't be a dick. Yeah, well, we also told France to stop surrendering like a bunch of cheese-eating surrender monkeys, and they didn't fucking listen. So, I mean, who's gonna listen to love God and don't be a dick? Nobody.
I mean, perhaps, although France did give England a run for its money for about 100 fucking years until the longbow became a thing. And then all of a sudden your plate armor doesn't really work. Time to rethink your battle strategy. Also, don't take a bunch of people wearing plate armor, throw them in horses, and then charge the enemy when the field is fucking mud. Mud and weight don't go very well together, and it's really difficult if you're wearing fucking plate armor. Once that horse fucking full charge gets stuck in the mud and your ass goes flying into said mud. You ever worn boots when you're going fucking fishing? Try to pull your leg out of the fucking mud when you're wearing a fucking metal boot. Not very easy. Especially not when there's fucking arrows flying at you.
Alright,
Just saying.
So I found another one. Drunk history. Let's see.
Check it out, eh? Red Stripe, Jamaican beer. Wagwan, eh? Fucking. I was always skeptical of people who were Ponda Gully, Movado. What are you, out of your mind? How could you not be Ponda Gaza and be with Vibes Cartel, eh? Who's in prison? You want to know who the real deal is? Who's in prison? Vibes. We're Ponda Gaza. Anyway, that's not what I'm here to talk about, eh? I'm watching fucking Drunk History the other night. Great show, eh? And it's people that are wasted, hammering back whatever is their poison. That's not bad. And they're talking about history. And it's funny because there'll be a drunk person talking, right? And then the actors will be using his or her voice, and they'll sound wasted. And ha ha ha, isn't it funny to see someone in history being all drunk and shit, right? Here's the funny thing, though. History is taught by history teachers in school mostly, right? And nerds. And they left out a pretty major detail. Something we can't really check on, like smell. Like when people talk about old New York, they don't realize that there was 4 feet of manure, it reeked. That's not in the history books so much, right? Here's what's left out of the history books also, and it's a biggie. We were drunk. Everyone in history was totally plastered. And so when you're watching that show, it's not an exaggeration. People were steamed, man. Totally blotto. Like Johnny Appleseed. You know Johnny Appleseed? Disney's got a cute little cartoon about him going around planting apple trees, and everyone goes, thanks for the apple. They're so sweet and delicious. I think I'll make an apple pie. No, that's not the case at all. What was going on with him is he'd go on the outskirts of settlements, right? Like say, like hipsters do, like gentrification. So if people were in West Virginia and they were headed west, he'd go like 5 miles west, plant a bunch of apple trees, and then when people were commuting, like when they were moving, they'd go, how is it over there? And they'd go, oh, Johnny Appleseed has tons of apples. Oh, I'll check it out. You know why? Apple cider. People weren't going to go somewhere unless they could get shit hammered. So apple cider determined whether you'd go there or not, so there'd be enough booze. Apples tasted disgusting back then. They only got sweet like one generation ago. They used to just taste like potatoes. People didn't put them in pies. They didn't eat them. They didn't think they were yummy. They used them for booze. And I noticed this the other day. I was actually with Derek Waters, and we're at some old bar, and they got some pictures of old dudes. You ever notice when you see old pictures of people, they're all fucking cross-eyed? You know why that is? Fist fights. Because they were wasted. I got in a fist fight once, and the doctor goes, "We got to send you to an optometrist. I think you separated your cornea." And I thought, that's what happens with all those old dudes. They then, don't worry about it, eh? I'll just be cross-eyed in all my old photos, because everyone else is, because it's totally normal to look like you're going blind, eh? And the more you look into this, the more you realize how wasted everything is, or everyone was. I'm learning about James Roebling, right? Or John Roebling, the guy that built the Brooklyn Bridge. And back before they had machines that made ropes, you'd just be 150 feet from each other and you'd just be twisting them around like that. It was a total pain in the ass. It took all day. It was hell. And everyone did it. In fact, if you didn't make rope sometimes as a volunteer, people thought you were shitty. So anyway, I'm reading about how they would do it, right? And his wife or something is like, so they get up at 6 and we sit them 150 feet apart, and then I bring them out whiskey at 7 a.m. I like to never go before noon, but back then, 7 a.m.'s no problem, eh? And they go, and then give them some bread, and then at noon we come back with some more whiskey, and then after we're done the ropes, we come back and have whatever they ate back then, potatoes and beets, and more whiskey. You've been drinking whiskey since 7 a.m.? Dude, tomorrow's going to be a nightmare. I hope you got a box set of The Sopranos ready, because you're not getting out of bed, pal. Look at the size of the whiskey jugs back then. Now you feel like a maniac if you got a big bottle of Makers. They had jugs this big with the little cork on top. They were fucking huge, eh? And then, if you go to House on the Rock in Madison, they have all these old little dioramas. Half of them are a guy that drank himself to death. That was just part of the thing. You do a diorama of a nice guy in the potty, like in an outhouse. You have a diorama of a bear, and you have a diorama of a dead drunk. That happened all the time. Winos were everywhere. In fact, doctors preferred treating... we're sick of treating winos because they were so belligerent. They go, "Get me some of these heroin addicts. I'm sick of these guys." You know the Knights of Columbus? Right? I'm a Knight of Columbus, right? You know how that started? Today it's the biggest insurance company in the world. But it started out, Father Jim McGreevy goes, "I got to get some money for these widows. Their husbands keep getting drunk and picking fights with the police, eh? And then the police end up having to kill them. So we got all these widows running around because their drunk husbands are fighting to death." The good old days. Look, I think I got them all there, eh? But we have this funny tendency to sanitize information and make it all crispy clean Disney cartoon. And it's not the way it was. It sucked back then. You were starving. You had to dig up grandma because you're starving to death in the freezing cold. Booze was the only thing that got us through. Drunk history isn't a funny, kooky way of looking at history. History is drunk.
No, he has a goddamn point, doesn't he? Right? I mean, look at the founding fathers. Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, Hamilton even, Washington. They were all fucking drunk bastards, dude.
Yeah, I remember hearing somewhere when it was George Washington's retirement party. There was only about 30 people there, but apparently there was some little tab which and it had something like 30 bottles of whiskey, 20 bottles of bourbon, and 30 bottles of scotch or something like that on the tab from just that one night.
Yeah, no, and okay, so there's that moment where Benjamin Franklin walks into the House of Parliament. And they dress him down for 90 minutes straight, right? And they're just yelling at him. And they're calling him everything in the book. A piece of shit, fucking blah, blah, blah. And he stands there, dead still, at attention, just listening. And he doesn't say a word. He turns around and walks off. That was the moment he became a revolutionary. And I bet you he was drunk. I really do. I bet you he was fucking wasted, and he was like, "These guys are fucking assholes." I don't even know. I don't even know how to deal with this right now. Like, fuck you. You know what I mean?
In fairness,
Yeah, well,
half of the British politicians would have probably been drunk as well.
Yeah, that's something everybody's got to realise about the Cold War is that, like, yeah, during the Cold War, most everyone was drunk. And I'm not talking about people who are, like, you know, low-key members. I'm talking about, like, the fucking generals, the politicians, and all this kind of shit. Even the cunts in the silos who had their fingers on the buttons. Most of them cunts were drunk.
Yeah, no, exactly. And, like, imagine you're 3 sheets to the wind, right? You're wasted. You've been drinking whiskey since 7 a.m. You heard Gavin, right? You're fucking plowed. And you still have the tact to just stand there and let them belittle you for 90 minutes straight. How much self-control did that man have? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, there's a reason they had him there instead of someone else. You don't want somebody who's going to go off the rails just for the slightest little insult thrown at them.
What are you trying to say? You don't want someone like me?
Next, you do not every single politician and punch me in the face.
Well, no, and like, there's no way I would have stood there and taken that. They get about 5 minutes in, and I'm calling them a cunt. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna interrupt. Yo, cunt! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck the horse you rode in on! Fuck the king! Fuck the queen! And fuck your mama! I don't give a fuck! Like, yeah, we threw your tea overboard. Fuck you! Fuck your tea, nigga! We don't give a fuck!
You want to try that shit out here because, like, you remember a couple of months ago, there's this fucking smart-ass kid that went and spat in this Australian politician's face and then just every cunt dogpiled on him.
Yeah, in fairness, if you punched a British politician in the face, I'd probably buy you a pint.
Well, no, and like, look at America, okay? We are the same country where, right before the Civil War, we're talking 1858, there was an argument in Congress, and a Southern representative grabbed his cane and beat the fuck out of a Northerner for 30 minutes straight. Beat the fuck out of him. Homeboy went to the hospital. Homeboy died 6 months later. He beat the fuck out of him. That's how we roll. Like, oh, yeah, I'm a cunt? Okay, give me my cane, bitch. Like, what's up?
Yeah, we know what happens when we piss off your politicians. They get suicided. I mean, yeah, killed in a jail.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, we're assholes. That's the way we are. And maybe that's an American thing. We are the fucking jackass that you notice. You know, you're like, oh, that's an American. You know why you notice? Because we're the asshole yelling across the street, yo, what's up?
Yeah, we hear them before we see them.
Yeah, no, and that's the way we roll. But okay, let's see here. 30 words and phrases that are simply wrong. Let's see what this is. Bum, bum, bum.
It concerns liberty. You want the gunslinger.
Hey guys, there's been a lot of backlash from the far right and the Republicans and the rich white males saying that we're trying to basically occupy the English language because we keep updating it. That's not the case. There's barely any words we're changing, and things evolve. And if you want to be on the right side of history, you should follow college students and the far left, because we tend to be right about things. I mean, a long time ago we said you shouldn't burn witches alive, and a long time ago we said that gays shouldn't get beaten up, and that turned out to be true. Same with blacks. So maybe listen to us a little bit. Here are, I count like maybe 30 words and phrases you can't use, and I was inspired to put together this list because on the weekend, this affluent neighborhood in San Francisco, the No Valley Glen Park area, got into a debate online about the term criminal. And they said, and this is true, they said that you shouldn't call thieves criminals because it's negative. You should be more specific and call them like the person who stole my bike. Because when you call a thief a criminal, what you're doing is you're not understanding what brought him there. And what brought him there was probably racism, and he probably got beat by cops. And you get to a point where you have no choice but to steal a bike. Anyway, that's number 1 on the list. Criminal. Don't say it. Ever. Thug is number 2. That word is basically the new N-word. People can't say the N-word on the news, and they're dying to, so they go, these goddamn thugs are playing their music too loud and they're breakdancing all over the subway. We know what you mean, racists. And that brings me to N-words. N-words are still bad. Negro is bad, and then the other one, I don't even want to think it, but a lot of times you'll see it in acronyms like NWA and the NAACP. Never spell out those acronyms, okay? Or a bolt of lightning will hit you. Also, within that, I guess, maybe this is a different one, I'm not sure, but colored people is wrong. You say people of color. African Americans is kind of old. If you say black, you're an idiot. These get updated about every 5 years. So people of color is what we say in 2015. Also, as we pointed out in a recent video, Melissa Harris Perry was wise enough to discuss hard work. That's number 4. Hard work is for slaves and single moms without health care. If you use it, you are saying that they're lazy. Number 5, politically correct is now politically incorrect. As the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee pointed out, it just, when you say politically correct, you're being a douche. I'm not sure if you can say douche. Bossy, obviously the dictionary is way behind the times, and it says that it means domineering and fond of giving orders. Yeah, right. We know it.
Goddamn ads.
It's code. A lot of these words are code. And bossy is code for women, young girls specifically, should not be ambitious. That's what bossy means. It means shut up, little girl. Go buy a little easy bake oven. Stop having dreams. 7 to 9, 7, 8, and 9 are he, she, they. Harvard, one of the smartest schools in the world, was smart enough to replace them with Z, her, and hers. That sounds kind of like hers. Z, her, and hers. You don't need to know the gender of the person in the story, okay? Unless it was a white male. Let's not talk about it. The is really bad. I think the is an article I remember from grammar school. That's number 10. So if you're talking about Jews, I guess that's okay, although they are oppressing Palestinians, and you're anti-Semitic if you hate them. I get confused with Jews, to be honest, because they're white, but they're also a minority. But yeah, never say the Jews or the blacks. That's what racists do. Also, number 11, too, T-O-O. If you say someone is too, like, no one ever says a man is too short. Outside of the rapper, they always just say he's short. But women are either too skinny or too fat, too. Never say too. So if a woman...
Okay. Alright. Let's unpack this a little bit. Okay, first off, too short, jokes aside. Yeah. He's doing a parody. He's pretending to be a leftist, and he is pointing out their general fucking misconceptions. Is he doing a good job? What say you?
Well, he can't say people of colour because, well, black is a tone, not a colour.
Actually, speaking of that, one of my more left-leaning friends, but he's not an SJW, and he's actually for free speech, but he had to go to some court hearing about his kid and stuff. So he did actually use the term person of colour, but that's more, you're tiptoeing around trying to be extra sure that people don't get pissy towards him just in case one of them's an SJW. And the person that was trying to get him charged with child negligence or whatever it was, which he didn't do, is fine, he's all been cleared now. But because he described her as a person of colour, she's saying that's racist. Like, if you said someone all black, should have been going, that's racist and shit. So she called him racist anyway.
Yeah, I don't think people really know what the hell racist is anymore.
Yeah, but she accused him of being racist.
Well, and I see MC just joined us, so I'm guessing he has something to say. What say you, MC? Does Gavin have a point with his parody here?
I didn't hear it, so I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, well, he's making jokes about people of color, and you're not allowed to say, she is too skinny, she is too short, she is too much of this or that. He's really playing off of the idea that the left uses buzzwords, right?
Right. Okay. Are you asking me if the left uses buzzwords and the left senator they're playing a game of word Nazi? Of course they are. They've been allowed to get away with this, so they're going to get away with it, whether you like it or not. The whole idea that you're white, you can't use the N-word, but somehow it's acceptable if you're black and you can use the N-word. All right, or the G word for Asians, or anything else. It's nonsense. Okay. Do people find it offensive? Yeah. Can it be used as a term that's offensive? Yeah. All right. But does that mean that somehow we're going to have a group of people sit up there and try and say, okay, you just use that word right now. How dare you use that word, or I'm going to come after you. And this becomes a problem. So he is right, and it isn't that people can stand up for themselves, right? If you use a word that somebody says or somebody feels is offensive, and they tell you, I find that offensive, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that person coming back and saying, I find XYZ offensive. What the problem becomes, all right, is when they say, I'm going to get you fired from your job because I'm offended. Why? What does that matter? What is it that just because you're offended, you need to take somebody's job away? And I don't care what that job necessarily is. All right. If you find that something's offensive, I mean, just recently, for example, there was a football player who was very upset, okay, about how the media was portraying a loss that their team just had. And he basically went off when Twitter banned him, all right, for his commentary. He went on and continued on Instagram. Well, this went to his team, of course, and his team freaking let him go, right? Because he was over the top angry. Okay, he was saying things like he was going to find these people and kick their butts and all sorts of really, really inappropriate. And I would say that it's inappropriate language. Now, in this case, he was insulting a lot of people. Yeah. He was angry. He was having anger management issues. I mean, you could make that case pretty simply that he has anger management issues. All right. But should he be allowed to say it? Well, of course he should. And should people learn to deal with it, learn to be tolerant of it? That's where the problem is. All right. People are saying, well, you need to learn the tolerance. Well, telling me I can't use a word isn't me being tolerant. It isn't me having an intolerance issue. It's you having an intolerance issue. All right? Just sit there and go.
Real quick, Furry for Finland says, Don't know about them feminists, but I like being pounded on occasion. I'm sorry, that was just too funny to let go.
Well, but you understand my point. What I'm trying to make here. Yeah, of course he's got a point to sit up there and say that. Now, is the rhetoric that comes out of a lot of this crap over the top? Yeah. Okay. Can people sit up there and be really offensive? Yeah. All right. Can it have an effect? Yeah. Does it have an effect on a polite society? Well, okay. My first question there is do we have a polite society? Is that what we want? Do we want a polite society?
No, actually we don't. We believe in freedom of speech, and that speech is speech we don't like. Therefore, we are innately opposed to a polite society. We want chaos. We want discord. That is in our DNA as Americans, in my opinion.
I think that the problem with that view is we're no longer living in communities, all right, the way we used to. And the reason for that is, manifold, all right. The fact that we have technology has broadened and changed the dynamics within the communities to a large extent. And I don't think people really take that into consideration. Yes, the United States, ever since World War II, has been a very mobile nation, all right, for the most part. People have been, that grew up in, western Nebraska. All right. Now, all of a sudden, most of their family lives all over the country. They have a brother in Iowa. They have a brother in California. They have a sister in New York, for example. All right. These things have changed the dynamics. And then you add in social media with that. And yeah, the idea of having a civil society has to change. I still think that we're better off under a civil society, under a polite society, as long as people understand, okay, yeah, you have to be tolerant of the other individuals. That's what makes a polite society, when you tolerate the other person being a dumbass, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, let's continue on.
If a woman is skinny, just say she's skinny, and if a woman is fat, say she's plus size. Man, number 12, also a huge bad word. There's a site called the College Fix that helped explain a lot of those. They have man-made is machine-made, and congressman is congressional representative. You also... Sorry to laugh. I was remembering a joke I heard earlier today. For dear sir, you go, dear members of the search committee. That's instead of sir. I don't totally understand that. I assume it means someone rich lost something and they're writing the people that are looking, like maybe Scott Peterson would be writing them, or someone who's rich and has a dog and has a search committee. You don't have to get all these. Just know that they're wrong. Number 13. Saying something is a woman thing. This is a huge mistake that the University of California made recently when they said tampons were a woman thing. No. Lots of men menstruate. If you're a woman and you identify as a male, your genitalia may not have caught up to you, and you still have, as the Rastafarians say, blood clots.
Okay. Okay. What?
Well, there was this spate of fucking uni students bloody dipping tampons into vodka and jamming it up their asses, but this just reminds me of that South Park episode where fucking Kenny sticks a tampon up his ass and explodes.
Yorkie, do you menstruate?
I'm sure Dage probably was with how he was acting earlier.
Oh, wow. Oh, shots fired. Okay.
Wasn't
God damn.
Yeah, I did actually see something about this before, though. Can't remember which way it is. I think it's probably some bloke who wants to either be neither gender or a woman, and then just literally just put some red stains right around the crotch area, holding up a sign saying something like, men can bleed too, or you'd have to be a biological woman to bleed, something like that. It was quite a while. It was a couple of years back. Problem is, you can't tell anymore if it's a parody or if it's genuine.
MC, have you either now or any time in the past menstruated?
No. I have never menstruated. That is not something. This is the problem, though, when they start talking about, the politically correct things. It all comes down to the same thing. Is political correctness something we should be trying to deal with? And the answer is no. We should be thrown it in the trash. Mm-hmm. It's not difficult to look at this and go, oh, look at all the things that are going on there. Why is it wrong to say X, Y, Z, period? Well, you can get people who will be offended. I get offended. I can tell you right now, I get offended all the time. When I see a communist flag, driving down the street here in commie land of Tucson, okay, I get offended. There's a bar that's dedicated to Che Guevara. Does that offend me? Yeah. Does that mean that I go in there and start reading people the riot act with cameras trying to take their pictures and find out who they are and find out who these little leftist commie bastards are so I can report them to my buddies right, to make their lives miserable? No.
Well, no, because they're all Tim Pool anyway, right?
just look for the beanies. Just look for the beanies. You can identify.
I had to. I'm sorry.
I would actually pay to see MC just bump into Tim Pool and just proceeds to beat the shit out of Tim Pool.
I would not beat the hell out of Tim Pool. I don't know why people think that. I think I would tell him that he's wrong and he's just another leftist little scumbag. But I mean, I wouldn't beat the shit out of him. Now, if he took a swing at me, I might. But I'm seeing as who Tim Pool is, I doubt he's going to take a swing at me.
Well, no, I can just see it. MC rips his beanie off his head and just shits in it and puts it back on his head.
I would not rip off the beanie from his head. So come on now. I mean, I was just talking about being polite. Is that polite behavior? Would that be something that
I mean, it could get worse.
I've always wondered about those cunts with the Che Guevara t-shirts. Like, did they even know who the fuck's on their shirt, or are they just being edgy?
Yeah.
No, I think a lot of them think that they know something about Che Guevara, and that they really don't study enough history to really learn who these individuals were. What kind of real jerks, all right, murdering psychopaths that these people always were. They have an impression from them because they're told about the horrors and all the struggles that the people were going through, and they were just reacting to that. And it's like, okay, I hear what you're saying, but the reality is they weren't just reacting to that. Yeah. Okay, they were murdering thugs. And this is the problem with these leftists, is they think that somehow there's some middle ground. This is Tim Pool's problem. There's some middle ground. We just got to find the middle ground. There is no middle ground with these people. All right? You want to be on the left, you're going to sacrifice freedom of speech. You're going to sacrifice all of your freedoms because it's going to be an authoritarian, all right, telling you how to live, where to go, because you are requiring that. And you're handing the power to do that to the government, just so that you don't have to actually get your ass involved. This is my problem with Tim Pool. Oh, well, we got to, I believe in that there's certain social things that we should be paying for, that the government should be paying for. Oh, really, Tim? Now, why is that? Why aren't you going out there and taking care of it? And this becomes the issue. The issue has always been the same thing. Why aren't you taking care of this? Why is it incumbent upon somebody else to take care of it, all right, instead of you? If you want the poor to be taken care of, why aren't you taking care of the poor? Why are you expecting somebody else to take care of it?
I find even more hypocritical about the people who love Che Guevara. they're the ones that always say Margaret Thatcher was a racist homophobe. Yet she's one of the very first politicians in British history to actually push to have homosexuality decriminalised.
Well, yeah, and the way you're right, and Che Guevara killed homosexuals. If you were caught as a homosexual, all right, Che Guevara had you executed. He was for the people don't know this about the man. All right, when Castro took power, he assigned Che Guevara the job of justice minister. Okay, he was the one who was handing out the leaflets of saying, okay, I'm in charge of the prisons. Guess what? These are the 6 people. Here's what you're charged with. You were charged with, how dare you be a priest? So are you going to stop being a priest? No. Over there. And he was executed. Are you going to stop being? You're accused of being a homosexual. You're gone. They wouldn't even continent. Continent. To listen to these people talk. All right, if you want to see what kind of an individual that Che Guevara is, read about his viewpoint of Africans when he went over to spread the communist revolution in the Congo and what he came back as. You want to talk about a son of a bitch and racist, raging racist? Yeah. All right, you would be hard pressed to find somebody that was more racist than he was. Because he was very, oh my Lord, he had nothing good to say. And I mean nothing good to say about quote unquote blacks as the terminology was back at that time.
Yeah. And was it Jay-Z that had the fucking cheek to actually wear a Che Guevara shirt?
A lot of those idiots freaking do that, including that jackass Kaepernick.
Oh yeah, that retard.
But
he only did that because he was a mediocre footballer, and he just wanted to do a publicity stunt.
Well, to be honest, he had the ability to play in a specific type of offense, but it had to be an offense that was designed around him. He himself, and this becomes a problem for players like him. Because they're only one-dimensional within an offense. They can succeed within that offense. However, it relies upon their athletic ability. And as time goes by, that athletic ability drops. At that point, you're done. You can't go anywhere else. You can't go to another team which runs a different style of offense because your offense doesn't match your skill set.
It was too specialized.
Yes, he was way too specialized, and so if you were going to have him on your team, you couldn't even use him as a backup quarterback for that very reason, because there's very few people the very few offenses that he could succeed in. Okay, that's the reality. He had an arm. Okay, he had a strong arm. He had no accuracy. All right. He could throw a long ball if he was given time, but he had a slow delivery. All right. So there weren't very many offenses that he ever could be within. And then, of course, his excuse of, well, the only reason I'm being treated like this is because I'm black. No, you're being treated like this because you're a dimensional pony. And nobody wants you once you sit up there and went off the freaking deep end and screamed racism toward everything and started basically burning everything to the ground. If somebody disagreed with you, they basically were persona non grata, and you were going to sit up there and sick your little liberal friends on them. Nobody wanted you to be around you.
Yeah, he thought that if he could pull the race card, it'd actually bully people into hiring him and giving him more money and shit, but it just backfired.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I definitely would agree with that. But anyway, we're sidetracking here from this liberal, this ideological freaking garbage, which is, look, the whole political correctness thing is based on one thing, all right, to try and get people to not sit up there and call out others for their leftist shenanigans, their Marxist freaking crap. That's what it was predicated on. And they've been, whether you like it or not, they've been very successful, especially on college campuses. So, Looks like Mad Dog just
Yeah, no, they absolutely have been successful, and let's continue on.
So, you can be a man and menstruate. Tampons are for dudes. Similarly, number 14, pregnant is a sexist term. Okay? Lots of men get pregnant. Women who identify as men happen to have ovaries and happen to have babies. You're welcome. Number 15 and number 16 are swimming. I mean, sorry, that's probably...
Yeah, okay, yeah, no, I was trying to resist, but no. Lots of men get pregnant, MC.
Yeah, I never tried that with my wife. I really did tell her to. Really, I'm the one that's pregnant, not you. I didn't have the guts to try and do something like that. She was already hormonal enough in those stages. All right.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, wouldn't that make women mad? Like, oh, you're not fucking pregnant, motherfucker.
Good way to get a frying pan to the head.
So does that mean we can call bullshit on the women saying that pregnancy is all very painful and stuff? Because look, I gave birth to the original last night. Didn't bother me 1 minute.
I'm not so sure I would even attempt something like that, to be honest, Marty.
In fairness, I've had some shits that are almost like childbirth.
Oh.
Yeah,
so when you get followed on by a fart, the ones you got to worry about.
Yeah. It weighed 8 pounds and I can't walk.
Lots of men get pregnant, okay? God damn.
Yeah, that's
I got too, but swinging and in the...
Oh my god, another ad! Fuck you!
If you imply a black man is swinging, like we're going to swing over to you, that implies he's a gorilla flying through the trees, and that is super racist, especially also, in the field implies he's picking cotton. So
oh my god, what?
Like Lee Flanagan II.
Oh, okay. In the field implies he's picking cotton.
Swinging means that he's literally swinging through the jungle in the trees. Did he just say that? Are there people who actually believe that the term swinging in the modern day is going to call up? Well, that means he's just calling him someone who escaped from the darks of Africa. Is that what that is?
Yeah. I'm Tarzan, you Jane. What the fuck?
That reminds me from the scene from Bowfinger where, someone mentions to Eddie Murphy, like Shakespeare, and he goes, "Hey, what? Did you hear that? Shakespeare, spear chucker. Is that what you said?"
God, I'm sorry, but that's just ludicrous. There's not anybody in the modern anywhere, all right, that's going to think that if somebody says they're a swinger, that's going to think, oh, that means they swing through trees. There's no one that's going to take that.
No,
there's no one that's going to believe that somehow is how this is being looked at.
Yeah, they're just jealous they never get invited to the swingers parties.
You know what a swingers party is?
Yeah, been to one.
Yeah, it's an AIDS bar mitzvah is what it is. All right, that's what it is. Is you're going there because apparently you haven't had enough STDs. You're just a herpes collector is what you become. All right?
gotta claim them all.
Right. It was actually a really fucking funny story, and I'll tell you off air. It's too long to do during this.
God damn. Okay. All right. Let's continue on.
and we're gonna swing by him, the Monkey Man. That is really insulting, and that's why he had to kill his coworkers because he was driven insane. Isn't Lee Flanagan II Lee Flanagan Jr.? I thought you don't get to use numbers till you're 3. There's probably a good reason for that, and don't ever question black males, especially when they're gay. Lame is also a really bad one. It's ableist, so never say anything is lame. And a lot of people who were saying something was gay moved over to say it's lame. Oh shoot, gay is one too. Don't ever say either of those. Dwarf is another really, really bad one, okay? That is why a theater in Leicester, England changed the name of their Snow White play to Snow...
You have midgets
go ahead.
and you have dwarfs, okay? And they are specific terms to describe a type of genetic malformity, for lack of a better term. I'm not saying that they're not humans, all right? But if you're a dwarf, it means basically your head and your trunk of your body are normal sized, but your legs and your arms are not. Versus a midget, which just is a small human. But proportionally, everything's still proportional. That's the difference. And people identified this for a long time. It was not a negative stereotype. Okay? It's like, I mean, let's be honest. I am about 5'7", around there. About 5'7", 5'6", 6 3/4, 5'7". That's what they always measured me while I was in the military. All right. To say that I am short, I'm short in comparison, especially to the other people that are in the military. All right. The vast majority of people were tall, males especially, were taller than me. I'm short. Am I going to take offense to the fact that I'm short? No, because that's reality.
Yeah, no, and exactly, right? Like, I'm 6 feet tall. You're short, dude. Like, I would look down on your bald fucking head, right? You're short.
I am short. You would look down. You would try to look down on me. I would probably kick you in the balls to realign the height differential, but that's a separate issue.
Asshole.
You know, but these ideas that somehow these things that people don't know what they are. Oh my God, he's a dwarf. He doesn't know. He doesn't know that he's a dwarf. He doesn't know. Look out. He just, the fact that he has to look up to everybody else, all right, that when he's looking in the normal thing, he's looking at someone's crotch, he doesn't realize that he's short.
Yeah, no, he totally didn't notice those sausage fingers. Because, yeah, they have sausage fingers. That's a thing. Fuck off.
It's not a negative thing, you know. Now, how many people insult somebody else by calling somebody a dwarf? Oh, you're a dwarf.
I don't know, unless you're talking to Peter Dinklage. I mean, do you really pull the dwarf card out?
I mean, with all due respect, I mean, most people play a lot of, role-playing games, all right, in whatever universe, and there are people that enjoy playing the dwarves because they're a kick-ass freaking race.
Mm. Yeah, he's always the tough little tank cunt with a gigantic fucking axe that usually one-shots you.
There you go.
Yeah, well, don't tell the elf that you threw me. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I think this is the problem. Like I said, the problem is that people aren't tolerant. They're intolerant, and the ones that are intolerant are the ones that are trying to tell you how you should speak, how you should talk. Because, see, you're just not tolerant of other people. No, the ones who are intolerant are you, who come up with these ridiculous rules. All right, sorry for diverging here.
Oh no, that's absolutely valid. And okay, let's you got Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. God damn it! I just noticed that.
White and her 7 friends. That is awesome. You know, midgets used to hate that word, and they moved to dwarves, and now it moved to little people because dwarves is bad. It's friends. If you have a friend that's a dwarf, he's a friend. Nothing more. Nothing less. Is that so complicated?
In the refrigerator, we'll have it tomorrow.
Number 19, niggardly. That is the worst word you can ever say, okay? And if it's you know, I don't care what the origins of it. You know, when you say niggardly, you are just screaming negativity.
Okay. Yeah. Tackle niggardly, MC. I want to hear your take on that word.
Okay. The origin of niggardly has nothing to do, literally, it has nothing at all to do with race. Okay? It was a description of someone who was being slow in getting things done. Okay? And at some point, somebody said, "Oh, well, that's close to the N-word." All right, let's approach it from that standpoint. It had nothing to do with it. Even the origins were long before. All right, people were talking about quote unquote Negro. All right, as being versus Caucasian or cracker, as most people would say nowadays. But we digress. Okay, niggardly had nothing to do with it. Now, what happened is somebody trying to be an egghead went through their dictionary one day. Oh, look at this word, niggardly. I've never heard this word before. Oh, I mean slow. Wait, I can't wait to use this 15-cent word in a communication. And they did on national television. And everyone freaked the F out. Oh my God, did you hear what he said? Are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? This is the problem. Now, is it a word that people say very often? No. Do people say the word penultimate all that often? No.
Well, no. Actually,
say that.
Well, no. MC, I do want to ask a question. You're equating niggardly with slow moving. I thought it was more like miser. It was more like stingy. You're niggardly. You don't want to give a tip because you're acting niggardly.
No, I think it was slow moving. I don't think it was miserly.
I've never heard the term before.
Yeah, see, there's the thing. Farty's never heard the term before. I've never used the term in any kind of conversation, so I don't really know if my interpretation was correct. I'm just going by what I thought I remembered from people telling me what it actually means. Because I don't look up 15 freaking penny words, all right, in the dictionary so I can show people how erudite I am. There, I threw one out.
Yeah, I don't even know what that word means. I'm like, wait, what?
So, I mean, the people try to use these words to try and give themselves a differentiation, and then maybe it'll go viral. Like the word gravitas. Do you remember the word gravitas? All right, when that became the big word, all right, to describe
yeah, grandiose. Yeah, grandiose.
To give stature to someone is what it means. All right, and it came about. The reason it came into the modern lexicon was somebody in the mainstream media used it to describe George Bush when he picked Dick Cheney, all right, to be his vice presidential running mate. And so they came up, well, the reason he picked him was because of gravitas. And next thing you knew, everyone was trying to use this word in the mainstream media because they all copy one another. All right, they all listen to one another. It's the circular, how do my farts smell? Oh, it smells so wonderful. Well, how about yours? Oh, attitude that the mainstream media has. That's where this crap comes from. Now, honestly, have you ever really used that word niggardly?
No, I have not used it in a sentence other than a few minutes ago.
Are you going to remember the word a week from now? Probably not.
Yeah, exactly. And you're right. Oh my God, that sounds like the N-word. It must be bad, right? Kind of like Negro. Negro is still the Spanish word for black, is it not?
Well, yeah.
Isn't that racist? I think all Mexicans are racist now.
Well, Mexicans are racist if you ever talk to them, but that's a separate issue.
Oh yeah, you do have a point. Actually, they're actually pretty bad. Yeah,
they're not very hard with religions either, especially Mormons. They kind of like toast them.
Well, I mean, Catholic, right?
Too soon,
But-
I know. Too soon.
Yeah.
You are being negative. Don't fucking say it, okay? The black and beautiful mayor of D.C. recently fired a lily white top aide, David Howard, for using the term. You will get fired if you use that term. I don't care what it means. Number 20, chink in the armor. Some dude from ESPN got fired for saying that because Jeremy Lin was in a picture nearby. Now, I don't care what he meant to do. What happened was Jeremy Lin might have seen that, and that might have hurt his feelings. A lot of this stuff is about preventing things that could have happened possibly if someone might have checked them out.
Really, maybe.
21, rape. Now, this word is very complicated. Just don't use it. Just unless you've been raped, unless you're a woman, avoid it. Because rape, the police have a...
Okay. First off, chink in the armor. I get why chink might be a bad word. You know? Yeah. Ching, chong, ching. Yeah, I get it. But chink in the armor as a phrase, why is that problematic?
What do Americans do? What have we always done? We always nickname and shorten things. Okay? How is chink, even if you're going to use it in the pejorative, right? Why is it considered a pejorative? What's the negative connotation to that?
It means Chinese.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I understand that. Okay. So it means Chinese because we shorten the word Chinese to chink because they wanted to shorten the words. That's what Americans always do. That's the whole point of saying Yanks. All right. Or Rebs versus rebels and Yankees. Okay. We've done this throughout our history. This is how we've always even described ourselves.
So I guess during the wintertime you can't say you're going to hit the slopes nowadays.
Hey, shut up, you cougher.
It's Kefa.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Kofi, coffee.
or Kofifi. We don't know.
But you blick.
Fried rice. You mean fried rice, you pick.
You know, I mean, do people make fun of the way other people talk? Yeah. Let's be honest. We've made fun of the Bostonian accents or Pak the Ka for how long when memes is on? All right. How many people make fun of the British accents that we always get wrong because we don't know all the little ins and outs of the British accents of which
you mean like how none of you can pronounce aluminium?
just one example. All right. So the idea that somehow that this is inherently offensive. If you want to take offense to it, then take offense to it. I don't care. If you want to tell me you find that offensive, okay, fine. If we're having a civil conversation, I may not say the same word again. Then again, I don't use the word chink anyway because it's just one of those weird words that doesn't roll off the tongue necessarily. So once again, all right, chink in the armor though. The term chink in the armor has been around since armor. Okay, I mean, let's be honest. It's a weak spot in the armor, a bend in the armor. That's what it always was. So why is it now all of a sudden somebody? Well, I find that offensive. I don't give a shit if you find something offensive or not, especially when you're going out of your way to find offense. To be offended. It's like a professional grievance committee has come out and said, well, how can I be upset about something somebody said somewhere? And they're doing it because they don't want to debate issues. They want to stifle debate. They're looking for ways to prevent you from actually speaking and use social mores rather than the government in the United States to prevent you from speaking how you feel.
Yeah, I think you'll find that chink actually specifically means a hole or a piece of damaged in chainmail.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, exactly. Let's go ahead and
I have a really antiquated view of this. Rape is now something you regret, like with Mattress Girl when it went in the hiney, and then later she said, "I like you, but I didn't like that." I guess later, or all these girls that regret a horse around with Terry Richardson. Drunk rape. I guess I was a product of rape in that sense because my parents are Scottish. They were likely inebriated. And then any sex that wasn't awesome, right? So avoid that word because you're ignorant.
Okay. That is amazing. I don't care who you are. Like, I'm probably a product of rape because my parents were Scottish and they were probably inebriated. Like, that's almost as bad as being like, yeah, my dad's Australian. Oh, we get it.
Actually, as I said, my family's Scottish.
You gotta admit that one was pretty funny. I mean, this is the problem. If you try to be a comedian nowadays, there's going to be a grievance committee out there, all right, that's going to try and stifle what you say. They always have been that way, right? Before, comedians were trying to increase the speech. Now they're trying to decrease it. All right, Mad Dodge. Continue the.
Okay, yeah. I just, God damn it. I'm probably a product of rape. God damn it. And another ad. Like, fuck you, ads.
I heard about these. I've never seen one before.
Seriously.
22, tranny. I was really disappointed recently to hear trannies use the word tranny. I guess they didn't get the memo. There's a lot. Brad released a very helpful guide about how to discuss this sort of eggshells topic of today. They have all kinds of handy clues like avoid the term sex change because sex is, I think, BS. And then gender identity disorder is also outdated. You say gender dysphoria now, which is still listed as a mental disorder, but it's not. And then I just want to wrap it up with a very helpful guide that the Western University in London came up with that included my favorite 7. This is 23 to 30 now. Blind, where's the pants? Whitewashed, gingers, you're so skinny, spirit animal, freak, and get over it. I feel like I shouldn't have to explain these, but there's a lot of ignorant people out there in it who don't understand these. Blind, if you say you're blind, you're saying someone's blind. Imagine how a blind people feels when he hears that. They can hear, Deaf people can't hear, stupid. Where's the pants? Outside of Hillary Clinton and her pantsuits, when you say wear the pants, you're saying that men are better than women and women should be raped. Whitewash, okay? That implies that things are better when they're white. You're like saying basically that a plant would do better out in the sun than it would in a closet. That's a racist lie. Gingers, don't talk about red-haired people at all, even though they're linked to Neanderthals and a lot of them are drunk. And you're so skinny, that's really crappy to do around fat people because they're dying of obesity. And spirit animal, of course, mocks the Native Americans, even if you meant it as a joke. Freak is mean to freaks, and get over it. Yeah, what if someone was black and their entire family was trapped under a car and it burned and they all died and the only survivor has those little weird mitten hands and his face looks like cold cuts, it's just like eye, mouth, and you get over it. Yeah, that makes sense. No, it doesn't. Don't ever use that term. It trivializes PTSD. So, if you use any of these terms, and that includes any of the ones I've mentioned and any I forgot, I think I forgot gay, which doesn't mean lame. You can't say that either. Just the general rule is don't disparage an entire group and say anything that could imply or lead to violence against that group. Okay? Kill all white men.
That's where we're gonna leave it, right there. Kill all white men.
How offended should you be?
Well, I'm white, so I'm highly offended.
It's a joke, dude. It's just a joke, bro. Get over it. Oh shit.
Yeah. You know that's gay. Fuck.
Are you implying that someone's too small to get over something?
Yeah. What are you, a dwarf? Shit.
Yeah, this is like I said. The reason that these things are even coming out is to prevent people from talking to us. It's to prevent speech. It's to say that freedom of speech isn't something that we have. It's not something you should be utilized. You've got the PC police. Now, I've been railing against this kind of crap for a long time, but it needs to end. It really does need to end. And unfortunately, people need to start acting like adults, and that includes a lot of these feminists. Because what they scream about and what they complain about is, well, that's sexual harassment, this, and that's sexual. Hey, there are cases of real sexual harassment that do go on that really are harmful. Unfortunately, I think from my viewpoint, as I've seen things through society, all right, I've seen people scream about sexual harassment that for more often than not is it wasn't sexual harassment. It was somebody trying to get over, that they're using it as an excuse for something, all right, that is the system is being abused. And that's why I did my video earlier today about against Tim Pool, where Tim Pool doesn't think that this whole issue with Bristol NHS is going to determine if you use racist language and we're offended, we're not going to treat you. Okay, so you supposedly have socialized medicine, but not really, because if we think you're a racist, we're not going to treat you. And here's Tim Pool's comment. Oh, I mean, if they're being abused, they shouldn't have to treat you. Why? Isn't it a right? Isn't healthcare a right? Well, if healthcare is a human right, then you have no reason and you have no excuse not to treat them.
Well, just have a different staff member treat that person.
Well, yeah, but they're going to basically kick them out. Tim Pool was saying, "Well, if it's not life threatening, I can remove you."
Really? No, he took. No, did he really take that stance?
Yeah, he did take that.
What
he was thinking, though, his thinking is that they're not going to abuse the system. They are going to abuse it. To think that people won't abuse it when you've seen sexual harassment get abused, when you've seen racism, the screams of racism get abused, to think that somehow that abuse won't take place, it's incomprehensible to me. It really is.
Well, no, that is insane. Coming from somebody like Tim Pool. Okay. You are a media personality. You speak about free speech. You speak about free speech. And now you want to deny me health care because I said nigger when I was fucking 17?
Well,
right? I mean, what the fuck?
He's going to sit there and he thinks that it's only going to be when they call the person giving you health care, a bad word, right? But the reality is that it's going to be abused because it's going to be your word versus them. And you've already seen how all this plays out. All right. How many times when they started doing really going after all these, hate crime things that were going on in the country, all these, hate crime and violence things that were going on after Trump got elected, and they started investigating them, and they find that most of these things, okay, weren't hate crimes. What they were hoaxes. But of course, they still call it a hate crime because it was a pejorative. So therefore, we're going to say it's a hate crime still, even though in reality it was a freaking hoax. Just like what happened at the University of Missouri with that guy that was doing his freaking what was that starvation protest, right, where he wouldn't eat. right?
Well, no, and like I don't use the N-word. Like I don't just throw that around. But like, what? Because I was an idiot when I was 17, you're gonna deny me health care when I have cancer at 80? Like, fuck you. You know what I mean?
If they find out about it, that's exactly what's going to happen, right? And in today's digital age, whether people like it or not, if somebody looks up your name, all right, and you have a Facebook page that has some derogatory things, they will find an excuse. Somebody, what guarantee you, in that position of power and authority, will find the excuse to sit up and go, "Well, we're not treating this guy because he's a jerk, or he's a Republican."
Oh, whilst making you pay tax for it.
Right.
Yeah, no, and it's not even he's a Republican. It's more like, oh my God, he's a constitutionalist. How dare he?
They will get to that point. They will get to that point. I guarantee you it will be abused in that regard. And all of a sudden you'll start reading about stories how this person or that person was denied health. And when they actually did the investigation, of course, after the guy's already dead, all right, and long buried, well, it looks like, this was probably somebody that was, being mistreated here and falsely accused. And they won't care. It'll get reported. Okay, great. After the fact, when the guy's already dead, when somebody wants to make a story for a headline for themselves, that's what they'll do. But other than that, will they really try to stamp out this kind of abuse? Not no, but hell no.
Just wait until you guys cop what we're starting out here. There's certain demographics that absolutely have about 1,000 fucking reasons why you should abuse them. That now it's arbitrarily no excuse to abuse these things. Like fucking, there's one particular bank in Australia that fucking just went through a royal commission and was found guilty of fucking ripping off fucking old age pensioners, people's superannuations, and all this kind of stuff. There's a fucking sign now on the desks of all these banks that say, abuse and violence won't be tolerated and all this. And like last time I was in that bank, fucking the stupid cow behind the counter basically said, "Oh, you've been with us for so many years and blah, 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 blah. Oh, So, yeah, I wouldn't be too happy about that. Your fucking track record's been fucking horrific. And as for that bloody sign over there, you lot, you don't need to just cop abuse. I have enough fucking excuses to literally drag you over the counter and thump you into a bloody fucking pot. But apparently that's fucking wrong." So, yeah, when every cunt fucking starts saying, "Oh, there's no excuse to hit women's or nurses or bank tellers or fucking people who generally do fuck people over," and you do have about 1,000 excuses you can fucking rattle off at the top of your head, that's just fucking insulting,
Yeah, I mean, there was a basketball coach in the United States. All right, I'm trying to think of his name right off the top of my head, but he was accused of harassing women, right? And what it was is that a secretary had made a major mistake, and he yelled at her. And I'm like, I'm tired of this nonsense. All right, I'm tired of this idea that somehow if somebody yells at you, you can't yell at me, and I felt bad. Well, you should have felt bad because you were a dumbass. And you got yelled at. Well, at what point do you freaking, come back and say, you know what? I'm an adult. I have to deal with this. At what point do we expect people to grow the hell up? When does that ever happen? Does it ever happen anymore? Well, you shouldn't yell at people because you made them feel bad. And they're so sensitive. If they're that sensitive, they shouldn't have this job. Bobby Knight, that's who I was thinking of. When they freaking went after him. He threw a freaking chair on people. He just grabbed a kid around the neck. And he wasn't choking the kid. He was grabbing him around the neck like normal. Like, hey, I'm getting your attention. Look, you dumbass. Oh, my God, he's trying to strangle the kid. Well, the kid wasn't struggling. The kid wasn't going, he wasn't choking the guy out. He's an old freaking man. If he started choking the guy, the kid could have freaking beat his ass. It's gotten out of control. Now, does that mean that Bobby Knight's skill sets, were the best when it came to dealing with human beings? No, probably not. But does that mean that he just, there needs to be a lawsuit here because he made the kid feel bad? No. Deal with it. Was he really being threatened? No. Did the kid feel threatened? No. I'm tired of this crap. And I use the term kid. In reality, it's a young adult. He was fully adult. He's past 18 years old. They're not children. It's like they just any excuse, all right, to stop people from doing what I feel is wrong in this behavior needs to be, I'm going to control your behavior, all right, because I don't find what you did to be correct. You shouldn't be like that. And as soon as somebody says that, that tells you what it is it's all about control. That's the way I feel.
Well, no, and the thing remains where, okay, you want to talk about the culture war. Yeah, we have a war over language. We have a war over diversity, where you have people like me who say everybody is equal, period. That's it. And then you have people that say, no, actually, Jose over there is better than you because he's brown and you're white. Go fuck yourself. You've had white privilege for 200 years. You can fuck off and die. Okay. I'm only 35. How exactly did I have privilege before I was even born?
Well, you don't, and that's the thing. Is instead of treating people like individuals, you're being told to treat people as a group, only under certain circumstances. When it's to my benefit to do that, then it's okay. But if it's not to my benefit to do that, then you've got to sit up there and tolerate my intolerance.
Yeah, you get my point then, right? I mean, it's ridiculous.
I've seen it all. I've seen this. What the result of a lot of this stuff is. People don't realize how this will affect things. I saw it in the military. All right, I saw people's attitudes in the military start to shift when they would do things to make sure that certain demographics got promoted over other demographics. And we saw it a lot, and it got to the point where people were just like, the only reason you got promoted was because of the color of your skin or the fact that you've got a vagina. All right, people were making these comments to people, and whether it was true or not is immaterial. The fact that people believe that is already damaging to the morale of the unit. The fact that people are saying that and you have no way of justifying, well, that isn't true. That isn't true. Yeah, it is. You can make that claim to say that it's not true all you want, but you're not being given the benefit of the doubt for your individual achievement. Why? Because they would stop promotions unless enough of a certain demographic got promoted. What they would do then is they would say, okay, here are the people that got promoted. Oh, there's not enough of whatever our special demographic is today. So what they do is they would hold all those promotions until they hired enough to meet the quota. They did it repeatedly while I was in the military. So, and what's the result? The result is you see somebody that's part of the special class, and the first question that comes to your mind naturally is going to be, I wonder if that person deserved their rank or whether or not they got promoted because they were quoted in. If the question is that, and it still happens today. I know it's not right for people to feel that way, and it shouldn't happen that way. That's why other people have been suggesting repeatedly, all right, that what you do is you send in your promotion packets without any pictures. But see, they did that. They tested that one time, and what happened was they didn't match their quotas, so they sit up there and went back to the system saying, okay, we need to find a way to make sure that we're hiring the right quota. Well, right there, that tells you, okay, you're promoting people not on the basis of what they've done or what they've accomplished. You're doing it on the fact that they're what their racial demographic.
Well, no, and MC, let's take a step back and think about this. All right, look at it objectively. Didn't Martin Luther King say, "Judge me on my merit, not the color of my skin"? Right?
Yeah, he did say that. But do you think that they really meant it?
I think he meant it. I don't know if the other people meant it, but I believe he did. I believe he was genuine in that moment. Now, was he a womanizing piece of shit? Probably. You know what I mean? Whatever.
The reality is yes, he was sleeping around. All right, but then again, when you become a celebrity, guess what? Women will throw themselves at you when you're a celebrity. Happens all the time.
Yeah, no, and men like to get laid. We like women. And that's something I don't get also, is this whole idea that men are inherently sexist. No, we're not. Inherently, we revere women. We put you on a fucking pedestal. We will kiss your fucking toes just to get a pinky in. You know what I mean?
So, what you have a foot fetish?
No, what I am saying is that men love women, and the fact that everybody wants to accuse us of sexism and placing ourselves above them, I believe they're dead wrong.
Well, but the problem is what do you say? Let's take a look at that from a different perspective. A man and a woman, you hire them to, let's say, for example, you're going to hire them to work and do phone support. And as part of your job in phone support, right, at different times you have to print things, like print a ticket or things like that, right? At different times, because it's office work, you have to, copy stuff. All right. So paper doesn't magically appear in the copier. It doesn't magically appear in the printer. So from time to time, you've got to pick up, a ream of paper, right? And you got to get the pallet of that has all the paper in it, and you've got to take it to the storage room. Do women do that?
Hell no.
And the reason I'm pointing this out is when you say, okay, all things being equal, men and women here, but it isn't equal, because for the most part, women are not going to have the strength to carry that paper, all right, over to the loading dock, all right, from the loading dock, all right, over to where the copier is. So who in actuality is more of a benefit to the company? This is regardless of everything else that we're talking about, right? Nobody sits up there and calls that out. Nobody points that out except for people like me, right? To say, okay, you want to talk about the double standard? Let's talk about a double standard here, all right? Because this is an example of it.
Yeah, no, you have a point. Okay, when you want somebody to sweet talk somebody into buying the latest iPhone, the iPhone 11 or whatever the fuck, you probably want a woman. She could probably flirt and get the dude to buy the phone. And she could probably get the girl to buy the phone too, because, well, nowadays every woman claims she's bi, even if she's never eaten a pussy ever. They all claim they're fucking bisexual. So, the woman is going to be be good at persuasion either way. Do you need somebody to dig a ditch? Get a guy. Do you need somebody to build a car? Get a guy. Do you want a pilot? Get a guy. Do you want a Marine? Get a guy. Wait a minute. What exactly are the women good at? Talking again? Okay. And cleaning my house, right? Yeah, sure, I'm kind of being a prick. But it's the fucking truth, isn't it?
Sorry, I forgot I was muted. No, it is, but the thing is that the idea that everyone is equal is ridiculous, and this becomes the problem. All right, the idea that somehow that we're all equal, we're not. We're all different. Every human being is different. You're going to have things that you're good at and things that you're bad at. All right, does that mean that you can't do something? Possibly, because like it or not, for example, I'm 5'6", 6 3/4. All right. Do you think that I'm ever going to be a professional basketball player? No. Okay. No matter how hard I try, when I was young, if I was young, back in the days when I was young, was there ever going to be a time when I was going to be a professional basketball player? No. Why? Because, like it or not, physically, I was not going to be able to compete with people, all right, that are 1.5 feet taller than I am. Ever. Okay? It's just not going to happen. All right, I would not be an asset to that team. So then, what are they doing now? Well, we got to have women coaches, and we got to have women in. Are they good at coaching? If they are superior coaches, then it won't be a problem. But it becomes a problem when you try to force that onto people and say, this is what's going to happen. This is what we're going to work for. This is what we're going to do. And it's across whatever, demographic that you want to look at, as far as I'm concerned. All right, however you want to look at it. I've said this many times. If you try to force something like this, then it's going to fall apart. If it's not natural, then eventually what happens is the ability to abuse the system becomes the rule, not the exception. And I saw it. And I've seen it immediately. I saw it in the military. I've seen it in civilian life. It becomes a crutch. It becomes the excuse. It gets abused constantly because people, they are looking out for themselves. And that's how human beings are created, is to look out for themselves and take advantage of situations. The whole scenario, for example, of a woman getting ahead by sleeping on her, sleeps on her back, right? Sleeping on the mattress, right? Did that happen? Yeah. Okay. Why? Because it could. Do you think that many of these women that did this, were they all abused? No. Most of them were the ones doing the abuse. All right. Does that make it right? No, it doesn't. Does it have a negative effect and should it be outlawed? I don't have a problem if you want to say that these kind of relationships are in the professional environment shouldn't be allowed. Because of the damage that it does to the business, to the damage that it does to the morale of the people. But does it get abused? Yeah, it always was getting abused. People take advantage of the situation and always will. Is it right? No, but that's the way human beings are. How are you going to fix it? You're not going to fix it by saying, well, I'm going to stamp out this abuse by looking at this quota system here. No, all you're doing is you're increasing the abuse. You're ramping up the abuse. You're not fixing it. You're actually making it worse.
Yeah, well, I don't really have anything to add to this conversation, so I'm going to bounce.
All right, Yorkie, take it easy, man. It's getting late right now, isn't it?
Yeah, I only woke up about 11 o'clock. It's currently 3.
Well, no, we're at like 3.5 hours. I think we're going to wrap it up. I think the fact remains, words have meaning. Language matters. And when you start changing the language of the culture, then you end up with a clash between cultures, right?
Well, yeah. There's a culture clash going on now, and it's going to continue because there's people that want to burn it all down and bring it all down now.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a reason why I've been getting more and more further right. They're shoving me in that direction. And if they're shoving me in that direction, as somebody who grew up, I was born in 1984. I graduated in 03. I'm a millennial. I'm one of the most progressive fucking generations since FDR. And they're shoving me to the far right. We have a problem, guys. And Generation Z is so conservative, they make Teddy Roosevelt blush. You know what I mean?
Teddy Roosevelt wasn't a conservative. Teddy Roosevelt was a
Teddy Roosevelt was a cunt, but that's neither here nor there. Still, people like to claim he was a conservative, do they not?
Who?
History professors for one.
If there's a history professor that tells you that Teddy Roosevelt is a conservative, find a new history professor because the guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But I'm not exactly.
I would tend to agree with you. I believe Teddy and FDR were two branches from the same tree, in my opinion. But you would get a lot of people who would tell you they were completely different and on different sides of the political spectrum. I don't believe they were.
They were to an extent, all right, but it's in a mild way of looking at it. It's a mild. The difference was more mild than people realize. There was we could talk about history at some other point. I don't want to drag this out, but Teddy Roosevelt was a progressive. He was not a conservative in any way, shape, or form.
Neither was Ronald Reagan, and I'm just going to let that hang there. Good night, good luck. Don't go to France. Thank you very much for coming out. Do go and subscribe on BitChute, please. I don't know how much longer I will be allowed on YouTube, so if you want to keep updated on politics, the role-playing game, and pop culture, go hit us up on BitChute, alright? That is the safest way to do it. It really is. Thank you very much. Good night, good luck. We are out of here. And fuck off, Sherardy.
And don't go to Russia. I'm about to fuck that joint up.